Hello, everyone. This is State of Exile, episode 37, the MirrorGate. No conspiracy theories here today.
The Mirror Games.
The Mirror Games? You volunteering as tribute there, Ziggy? Today we have RaizQT and AngryWeasel as guests, and we're going to be discussing overall a bunch of new meta crafting that's been revealed to the community, as well as patch 2.0.2, which is a bunch of gem buffs, new Tempest, jewel buffs, as well as map drop rate buffs. And then we're going to be discussing AngryWeasel here came to us, and he got, what was it, Merciless Malachi first. He was the first person to do it in hardcore, and he got an Alienware laptop for it. So he's going to discuss, his tips to leveling in a brand new league and things like that, and how he did it. And Raiz is going to talk about the race season and be some PJ Salt everywhere. So.
yes, exactly that.
So thanks, Raiz. Thanks, Angry, for coming on board. I'm happy to see you guys here.
Thanks for having us.
All right, man. Yep. So what's everyone been up to? Let's kick it off. Raiz, what have you been up to right now in Path of Exile?
I've been playing a couple builds. I've been playing RF Incinerate a little bit, wanting to farm up some currency because I was pretty poor throughout the entire league, pretty much. Because in the beginning of the league, I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna get currency anyway, streamer life and all that, I guess. So I didn't care about trading or anything, and I ended up actually being extremely poor because I died a couple times to disconnects and all that kind of stuff and my own stupidity. So I made the RF Incinerator again. I died to a game crash like 3 runs in or something, so we decided to reroll a Zeri challenge type of character. So basically, solo, self-found, and you gotta kill a Zeri within 20 hours. And I haven't really decided on the Masters yet. I'm currently 13 hours in and level 72. It is a poison arrow character, and it's kind of coming along nicely. It's pretty easy to just find gear for poison arrow. You can just alt spam a +2 bow at 64, and in general you just get resistances and you're completely fine. So that's going pretty well. I can't really bring myself to farm more Dried Lake currently, so the character's kind of taking a vacation, and I ended up re-rolling another character. I mean, it's primarily what I do in temporary leagues. I just re-roll over and over or die over and over. But I'm playing a Vol Grand Slam character, and it's actually really cool. I feel like Vol Grand Slam is one of those skills that not a lot of people used in the past for whatever reason, but it's like insane. I don't know if they changed something about it, but it just wasn't getting used. Most skills that have Vol skills that have charges on them are crazy. And people have played staff crit cycloners in the past, so I don't really know why people weren't playing Vol Grand Slam.
The reason for that is the new jewels, the Sacrificial Harvest and the Chill of the Corruption. I was playing Val Burning Arrow character. At first it was Ice Shot, and then I was like, well, who am I kidding? This is Val Burning Arrow because it's up 100% of the time. And it's the same thing with that. And Val Storm Calls was always in the meta, but again, if you're playing a crit build, you can have that up more despite the nerfs.
Yeah, but they brought up the soul cost. They doubled the soul cost on more abilities. I don't know. That was definitely the case for Vol Stormcall. I don't know if it happened for Vol Grand Slam.
No,
but even now, without a big investment, you can have it up pretty much 24/7. Obviously, it depends on the map layout and that kind of stuff. But in general, it's definitely.
I'm saying a bit more Val-focused builds in general, which is pretty cool. Val Ground Slammer, some Val Sparks, Val Lightning Strike. Yeah, I think I saw a PT using that. Pretty damn strong. And I've seen your Val Burning Arrow action, of course, Zeno.
So satisfying.
I didn't know that skill was ground targeted. Oh my god, that skill! I didn't know it was ground targeted. I always thought you were just trying to Edgemaster it, shooting through packs, trying to get the AoE overlapping, or the what I've dubbed AoE-lapping, the new term for shotgunning. AoE-lapping, when you're overlapping AoEs to distinguish from shotgunning. But yeah, that's that's skill.
To say for Europeans. No
way.
No way.
Val Burning Arrow is just broke as hell. Seriously, any bow, I'm seeing elemental bowers use that crap now. Anyone with crit is Val Burning Arrow now.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. I mean, in general, I've tried to play Vol skills in the past, but typically it would be why would I use this if I can just use Vol Haste, which is still super OP. And I think if your build in general isn't using 1 or 2 Vol Hastes, it's you're missing out so much. That's like the primary reason why not to use Vol skills. It's like because you can use Vol haste. But yeah, some definitely work out for certain builds, like Vol Ground Slam or like Vol Burning Arrow. Or you said Project PT. I've seen Wooly play Vol Spark, Spark, and that really worked out really cool as well. I've seen some Reddit posts about that. My build was also like inspired by a Reddit post and Showtanks' build, so it's definitely a lot of fun.
The idea of dropping a dedicated single target skill and instead having a Vol skill set up, like either Vol Lightning Strike or Vol Burning Arrow, seems pretty solid. Because like the way we generally clear, right, is we occasionally encounter a tough rare and you have charges, so you destroy them, or you have your charges ready for the boss and you destroy them. So I mean, it works pretty well. You don't really need a single target for just general clear most of the time.
Or the other way around.
I feel like you're forgetting Vol Molten Shell, guys. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, give it some love. Give it some love, goddammit.
Good call. Forgot all about that. In case you guys were wondering what we're talking about, Chill of the Corruption is a fairly expensive jewel that makes it so when you shatter an enemy, you have an 80% chance to get an extra Vol soul. And Sacrificial Harvest is, I believe, a 30% chance on kill to get an extra soul. And they stack with one another. So at times you get three plus souls from an enemy, and if you're playing a crit build, you're always shattering with Hatred, so you can keep them up nearly 100% of the time.
Yeah, and there's also like Vol Sentencing, which can give you up to like 120% crit chance for your Vol skills. So if you're using like a staff with 10% crit, I mean, you can cap out your crit really easily with those. Yep. Granted, you're giving up like other things, but like Ziggy said, you can use it for AoE or for single target. I mean, I'm playing Cyclone, so my primary AoE is Vol Ground Slam, and then the Cyclone is mostly like for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you obliterate a pack, and then you got your charges back again. You just obliterate the next pack, and if you're clearing efficiently, it's these sorts of things work out quite well.
So, anyways, what have you been up to, AngryWeasel?
I'm actually up to 3 fully decked characters now in Tempest. I have my almost 96 Fagner, still going strong. Cyclone, Discharge. Somehow still alive, I have no idea how, but I guess it just kills stuff faster than they kill me, so...
Classic strategy.
Yeah, exactly, it works perfectly.
How's the 1.3 strategy? It's still going strong, I say. That's good to hear.
Yeah, you just gotta kill stuff. Though I'm pure age to parties, they don't want me, so I have to play alone for most parts. Other than that, I'm playing my MF Poison Arrow, which is with the Resist Defiance. That's also mainly just solo ghosting and exile hunting. It's a lot of fun, and it feels like you're invincible because you have like 58% evasion chance, 46 dodge, and 30 spell dodge, and 6k life, and you just always have 4 endurance charges up. If you get hit by something, you have a couple of seconds of Immortal Call, and yeah, you can just jump through big packs of like double, triple ghosted stuff, chasing more ghosts, and yeah, it's just a good day. So I've been using a lot of time on that, like 5 hours, 6 hour sessions of just maps in labs.
It sounds like you've been really engaging with the Tempest mechanics, even more than most, it sounds like.
Yeah, I love the Tempest. It's really kept me going. Normally, I kind of only stay really active as long as there's a racing aspect to it. I really enjoy the ladder racing, but in this league, I've just been enjoying myself and just wanting to make more characters. And because you get so much currency, if you actually do have if you have an MF character and can do most of the maps with Tempest, then you're gonna get a lot of currency. Even the transmog Tempest with an MFer, you get 500-600 alterations in an hour, no problem.
That's absurd, my god.
They stack the things up now, don't they? They stack the shards now. They fixed it. Yeah.
You just have to hide scroll shards, and that's the only thing.
Oh yeah.
In your filter. But everything else is good to take up. And I have a new project. It's mainly fixed yesterday. It's a Cog Wonder, some more Cog Magic. It's with Chill of Corruption and Skull's Bridle. Also at the Resist Defiance with it to have permanent onslaught going. It's really, really fun. And Vol Molten Shell, of course, on top of that for boss killing. Just hammering through maps at full speed.
Golly. Are you using the skulls?
Yeah, skulls as well. Yes.
Oh man, that thing has got a freaking wreck.
It is.
That's
a
an
lot of
expensive build. Well, I guess that's what your poison arrow's for.
Exactly. just found all the fun. But again, it's not a party build. Even sometimes I just hit it into a big pack and everything stands still for a couple of seconds. I just think, okay, hopefully everything is dead after this 2 seconds of lag. And most of the stuff is dead after that. So yeah, it works, but quite laggy.
Just have to have a little bit of faith, alright?
Yeah, I have all Molten Shell activated. I can have it activated most of the map anyhow, and nothing can kill me as long as I have that on. Other than a poison cloud or something.
There's been a bit of breaking the game lately, whether it be through, you know, dropping FPS on powerful builds like that, or crashing the instances due to too much loot dropping all at once, with people sucking up tormented spirits into massive, like a map full of mobs and stuff, and then just loot explosion crashing the game. It's
Abyssal Try also crashes the map sometimes. If you like affect a too big a pack of mobs, it just crashes the entire map.
What was that?
No.
Abyssal Cry.
Abyssal Cry. Yeah.
The effect of it.
Earlier this league, I was mapping with Pulp, and we were doing an of animation map with Beyond, and we put Beyond on it. And of animation was dropping, like when you kill the weapon, it would count it as a corpse, which it wasn't supposed to do. And when you kill the weapon, it yields experience. Anything that yields experience can spawn Beyond monsters. So we'd spawn Beyond monsters, they'd drop weapons, which would then drop, you know, spawn more Beyond monsters. And it was just this vicious cycle, and there was so many dead corpses on the ground and so many Beyond mobs that he had a log because he almost died, and he came back in and he just crashed right away because there was just too many corpses. I think they fixed it, but it was like there has been an instance
just
of
had
a lot of
infinite loot going. There must have been some people going pretty ham on that.
It's rippy as hell. It is rippy as hell.
Attack a back free screen and just pray that you're gonna survive. It's not a good way to play hardcore. I don't know.
Yeah.
So many monsters. But yeah.
That's a fair point. It had its own balancing built into it.
Yep, can you survive?
The old crash.
GGG, such geniuses. They balanced it.
Good balancing.
we discovered this by accident. We weren't intentionally exploiting anything. I reported GGG immediately after, and they said they'd look into it. So we weren't out there being those guys. I'm against exploits. Well, I'm not against exploits. I just don't exploit exploits. There we go. So what have you been up to? Let's hear it, Ziggy. The big show.
Well, over the past 2 weeks, I've been pushing the upper thresholds of human endurance and pushing the lower thresholds of Path of Exile gameplay with possibly the most ridiculous challenge ever conceived for Path of Exile. The self-found uniques only challenge. So you can only use unique items and you can only find them yourself, which means no trading with other players. So that means, though, because of the socket system in Path of Exile, you can only equip gems if you find a piece of gear with sockets in it, and that piece of gear has to be a unique. So, 11 hours in, still no unique, but I think, and I'm claiming this now, but anyone who has proof otherwise, come and let me know. I think I got the world first ever naked Brutus kill. Leveled up entirely to Brutus, just punching with my bare fist as a Templar. Dong flapping majestically in the wind, taking down Brutus. So that's been my 2 weeks, and it's been a really enlightening experience. when you
that's
set
like
yourself
an Athene challenge. Next thing you're gonna have is like your eyes covered and just like punching away.
I did feel a little like that from time to time, Raiz. I do agree. But when you set yourself some ridiculous challenges, I don't know, it's such a stupid idea that it's actually been quite fun, because you start thinking of all these different strategies you never would have thought of before, like rounding up mobs around Kuduku and killing them with Tempest so that you can punch down Kuduku and get his loot to potentially get a unique drop. And although I have not found any uniques, it also helps you forge a strong sort of sense of positivity, because you have to look for the bright side. When you go 11 hours punching things, you have to start looking at the little wins that you get, like that extra Quicksilver flask drop, or that Chancel that drops where you could chuck it on one of those robes to try and get a Tabula or something. It's you have to look at the little wins. You have to take them where they come, because otherwise you just won't make it.
You didn't tell everyone the name of the challenge, dude.
It has been dubbed the Gucci Hobo Challenge because it's like this, right? It's like a hobo with no clothes, and you try and give him some clothes, but he won't wear them unless they're Gucci brand. That's kind of what the challenge is like, and it's since evolved into being the punchy hobo because we've gone 11 hours punching things with no unique so far. So, and I'll tell you what, I can't play regular Path of Exile anymore. It's my chat won't let me, man. They're just rioting constantly to see this. What have I done? What have I done? Yes, we reached 4.7 DPS on our fists as well through stacking accuracy and attack speed has increased our DPS dramatically. I started at 3.7 and went all the way up to 4.7. So it's really improved our clear speed.
How long did the Brutus kill take?
What's it? Pardon?
How long did the Brutus kill take?
It took me 35 minutes to kill Brutus. 35 minutes with about 20 portals. Angry, I learned from you, my friend. No, so I was waiting for a long time for Tempest to try and kill Brutus, but I asked Rory, because we weren't getting one for ages, and they said, well, Tempests are disabled in there. So I thought, oh, damn, all right. We gave it a go, though. I got to level 10. I got the 30 HP node in Temple area, because I went through there with 200 HP, which is usually, 200 HP on Brutus is usually pretty safe, right? But you'll be surprised how much the, 20 armor that you have makes a big difference. I was just getting stunned and destroyed with 200 HP, so I came back with the, after getting level 10, with 250 HP, and it was just enough that with very patient play, I could work him down. I did discover that if you kill 4 of his ads, he summons more ads. So we had stacked up skeletons as well, with making it even harder. But that was a good fun fight though, that Brutus kill. Since then I've killed Fairgraves and gotten the extra passive. I don't like my chances of punching Merveil down. I don't think that's gonna happen. But hopefully we find a unique one.
It'll happen. Gotta have faith.
Eventually, maybe.
What else can you get
a lot of salt for me, like Ziggy. A lot of salt, because whenever, let's say I open an Arcanist and an Exalted Orb drops, and I'm like, wow, my Exalted Orb finally. And I'm like, well, too bad I've been playing this game for like 6,000 hours, and this is my first Exalt this league. And some guy in chat goes, well, yeah, but I've been playing for like 20,000 hours, and I've never found an Exalt. Well, what build are you doing? I'm doing the Ziggy Hobo punchy build. There you go.
That didn't actually happen.
That would have been glorious, though.
Before you know it, you'll be hearing Life Sprigs from Life for Gen 2. Give it some time.
I'm thinking of making a series of guides about the Punch Hobo challenge, of how to do various things, how to wrangle Uzbek Bloom, how to eventually work down. The Hillock kill requires level up strats as well, which is pretty clever, because it is maybe possible to do Hillock, but the best thing to do is to get just off a level, work him down, then kill an extra zombie, level up, and then finish him off. That's that's how you do the Hillock kill.
This is some tinfoil
There's so many strats that have come out of this. Chest running with 4 or 5 quicksilvers as well. That's all part of the strat. There's a lot of things to learn here, and a lot of things to discuss, which I think could really revolutionize the metagame.
I logged into your stream, and you're like, "Oh, sweet, Static Tempest is in Ledge," and I'm like, "That sucks." You're like, "You want Galvanizing for more damage," and then you're like, "No, you got to understand.
Like, no.
I used the ball lightnings and the fuzzy clouds to kill them, and then I sniped the kill." And I'm like, "This is some next level crap."
You use the fuzzy clouds to damage them, and then you snipe the kills when they have like 1 punch worth of HP left, and you don't get XP, but they still drop loot when they die to the clouds too. So use that. Yeah, you gotta use the damage dealing. The Fire Tempest is the best one, the one that spawns the Flame Totems. Flame Totems wreck, man. They can work down a boss like that, and then you can finish them off and get the kill. So good. I get like 3% XP from a Kuruku kill, man. So it's good. It's good. You got to use those strats if you really want to up your game.
Well, I guess we can transition what the heck I'm playing right now. I'm playing 2 builds. Primarily, I'm playing a Power Siphon Wander. I want to see if Power Siphon's still good enough, and it more than is good enough. Kinetic Blast is obviously better in nearly every way except for generating power charges in the Coiling Strike. But Power Siphon still has crazy clear. It's still doing a lot. It just takes a lot to get it going, just because of the mana cost and wands. You know how it goes. Playing a wand build from scratch, it's not easy. But the build I've primarily been playing, I just hit 89 on, is Null's Inclination. It's a summoner bow that At first, I believe when we showed it during beta, we're like, this seems all right. I was inspired by Uberly. He made a build back in beta, and it's been changed quite a bit since then. They nerfed Heralds, they nerfed the bow, they nerfed Cobalt Jewels. They can't give mana gain on hit. So I had to redo most of it. But overall, I'm very happy with this spec. At first, I was worried I wouldn't be able to kill a lot of the map bosses, but I've learned how to, I'm never playing a summoner. I didn't even know how to use Convocation. You just press it, right? If your minions are like sitting on top of Storm Bearers, you got to call them back and hope they don't run right back into it. It's all about positioning and things like that. So I've learned how to do that, and I've killed almost every map boss I've done. The only one I didn't mess with was Crematorium. I've done 78 maps on it. I'm using Animate Weapon and SRS, scaling elemental damage on myself, which is then giving it to my minions. So SRS is really a backup because they only have 70% damage effectiveness, opposed to Animate Weapon's 250% damage effectiveness. And I'm flying through maps. The biggest downside of the build, though, is any Tempest with a lot of AoE damage just shreds my minions. Or any volatile, if I'm playing a Nemesis map, volatiles, if there's too many, they just blow up all my weapons and I got to start from scratch. But I have been walking around. If I find any rare weapon that sucks, I'll ID it during the map, drop it, and animate it. So, I've been learning a different kind of playstyle. And I'll say the bow is actually really legit.
Yeah, I gotta say, Zeno, I was surprised, man. It's just the idea of like cast on melee kill and summoning things when you kill something is just so backwards seeming to me, like relying
Seeing
on that.
A good build on Zeno's stream is super surprising. I agree with you, Ziggy. For sure, man.
This league, Rise, I've done better than you. I don't want to hear
Oh
it.
yeah, I agree.
You done more than I have. But in the past,
okay.
In the past, I do have I do a lot of trial and error. In this league, I've done pretty good, and this, like I said, this isn't really my idea. This is an idea I took off of someone else, and I'm pretty happy with the results. The clear speed's pretty nuts on that damn thing.
The clear speed's insane, yeah, man. Obviously it has a few things that make life difficult, like some of the Tempest and stuff like that. But yeah, if you just avoid those, then that's pretty insane, really. In non-Tempest leagues, it should be crazy.
Yup. Yeah, I knew I liked the build when I killed Jungle Valley like instantly. She came down, died, and I was like, all right, I can do this because there's so many minions in there. I could just keep spawning crap, so it worked out for me. But like Merveil, if she ice storms, they can all get shredded if I don't convocate properly. Anyways, let's go into the big drama fest. So here's what I'm gonna say to you guys. I will not name drop anything to do with this MirrorGate. If you want to name drop, that's entirely up to you. Okay? I'm sticking out of the drama, and I won't even comment on that. MirrorGate reveal. Basically, there has been a mastercraft for over a year now that people have known about, and there has been. Here, Ziggy. You know what, Ziggy? You did a whole YouTube video. You can explain this.
All right, I'll do the basic overview of what is MirrorGate. So a while back, a group came out and said that they'd made 72 mirrors in Warbands, wasn't it? I think it was Warbands, and they came forward and said they were revealing their secrets of how they did it. So cue black and white, grainy film, kind of like conspiracy theory, music background, Discovery Channel sort of business going on now at the moment. Zeno, can you get that going? From there, they came out and they revealed this crafting strategy, which was to use the meta mod crafting available at Masters to lock out affixes so that they could very easily and cheaply craft +3 bows and plus these 3 staves. It was to a point where you'd roll +2 on a bow, for example, and then you'd be able to roll cannot roll attack mods and have the only prefix that you could roll then +1 gems. So you could, for several exalts and obviously investment in getting the level 8 Masters, you could very cheaply craft these things that were selling for, I don't know, 15 to 30 exalts or something like that, because demand was very high and this knowledge of this method was not very widespread. So pretty legit method, obviously a decent amount of currency made there. But then to add to the conspiracy, shortly after, someone else came out and said that that's not all, though. These guys didn't just make their money off that. They also knew about this other strategy, which was to use, and this has been confirmed by Chris Wilson to have been around for a year. You can use the cannot change prefixes or cannot change suffixes metacrafting mods, and then Scour Orb are rare, and it doesn't turn into a white. It gets rid of the things that you can't change, and you keep the prefixes or suffixes you want. So you can get a bricked item. Think about the times where you've had like a really well-rolled item that's got really insane prefixes, but it's bricked by 1 to 2 really bad suffixes. Then you can life regen your thorns and things like that. Then you can actually, spend a bit of currency to recover that item so that you can recraft it. So the idea is that you could browse and find certain items and on PoE trade, and then fix them with this and recraft them and sell them for immense profit and pick them up very cheap as well, because people don't know the value of these items that they're selling because they didn't know they could be fixed. They were bricked, right? So a lot of money potentially being made that way. And then the conspiracy deepened when claims were made that these people also had secret bots that were able to scan quicker than PoE trade to find deals before anyone else. And then even further claims were made saying that they could do things like scanning inventories and finding out when mirrors dropped on new players under level 55 and offering them, small amounts of currency to get their mirrors and things like that. So since then, some claims have been dispelled and other claims, confirmed and things like that. But the change and the shake-up to the economy and the kind of like widespread knowledge of these crafting methods, which are not new, but have been almost rediscovered because people kind of knew about them in the past, and the information was actually there to be able to find these things, but we as a community forgot about them and also didn't really test them because they were expensive and maybe not as profitable in the past. So pretty big news. This is probably the biggest reveal, recipe crafting economy wise, I would say, since the initial change to GCPs with the GCP recipe reveal. Bigger than that, I would say. Bigger impacts than that.
Yeah, for sure.
So Raiz, go ahead, man. Go ahead, Raiz.
Go ahead.
I know you're ready.
I was just kidding, to be honest. I'm not really interested in all of this. I think Ziggy kind of cut it a little bit short because there were other things also that just stirred people up. Because I think this is comparable to the GCP recipe thing. It was also happening for months. It had a huge impact on the economy. It was made by the top players. So it was, but it wasn't that big of an impact. But here, there were other things, some deleted posts from some GGG people, not necessarily, it wasn't necessarily widespread, but there was also misinformation about this where people got really confused because people who are respected crafters and stuff like that, no name dropping, said that this didn't work, and people got confused about that. They trusted him, they believed him, and yeah, now it just really blew out of proportion. You know what? I don't really care that much. I was kind of in it for the drama because it was just really funny to see the way people were, not to say turning on each other, but it just blew up so fast and evolved so quickly. The Gouda stream was definitely top notch. So that was definitely the fun part for me. But the conspiracy,
there has definitely been some quality drama, but I have to say I applaud the people that have kept this knowledge secret and used it to their advantage, because the way I view it is that the economy is part of the game, and I wouldn't get salty at someone for keeping a race strategy secret and using that to get maybe earn a laptop or something like that, to beat out other people in a race season and win the race season. I see the economy the same way. People keeping strategies secret and using them and just sharing them with their guilds and dominating an economy and producing vast amounts of wealth. I see that as part of it, and I was very excited actually that this story came out, because it's I always loved reading about in EVE Online all of the conspiracies and corporate espionage and all that sort of stuff that happens with its really vibrant kind of almost real economy. And the same thing happening in Path of Exile, a similar sort of thing happening here is really exciting. It adds an extra interesting layer to the economy. I'm glad that the economy is deep enough in Path of Exile that such things can happen, and that's been super entertaining.
So
actually, why are people salty about this? You have a really fair point. Why are people actually upset?
Exactly, and I was about to just say why. So first off, Carl, who is a member of GGG, he mentioned in this post, a well-known crafter said, hey, the recipe doesn't work, the MetaMaster recipe or crafting doesn't work, don't bother with it. And Carl had replied on it and said that's not true, and then it got removed because Carl deleted it. Now, the reason why he deleted this is no conspiracy against GGG. The reason why is GGG likes for us to figure out things on our own. And by him saying that, he's disclosing all of that information, making it wide known knowledge to the public, which it now is 6 months later. So they try their best not to interfere with things like that in the economy. And as much as, you know, you can call it scummy, you can call it what it is. You know, whatever you want to call it, that's up to you. But at the end of the day, if I knew an Exalted Orb recipe, and I knew, you know, if an Exalted Orb recipe existed, and I didn't tell anyone, and then it became widespread knowledge eventually, you know, it is what it is. But if you knew an Exalted recipe, would you share that information? Hell no, you would totally abuse it as long as you possibly could. And that's exactly what these guys did. It just happened, I think GGG, or Carl in specific, made a tiny mistake about that, and people turned this huge pitchfork, you know.
Carl's only mistake was posting that it wasn't true in the first place.
Exactly.
And deleting the comment was just him staying in line with GGG's policy as what it's always been, which it has always been to allow people to have these secrets, to, you know, use the economy in this way. They want the game to be interesting and deep like this, so they like to not tell us vendor recipes and different crafting strats and stuff like that, except for, you know, until after it's been already discovered and discussed en masse by the community.
I mean, look how long it took the Hiri's Bite quiver recipe to be discovered. I mean, it's a crappy recipe, you know, it gives you a junky quiver, but that existed for how long? There's a recipe to make an Ungol's Harmony amulet. That's the Dex Int turquoise amulet, the unique that lowers your crit multi. There's a recipe for that, and that some guy discovered that, and when he thought he might be able to using the same recipe to get a Vol's Devotion, and it didn't work. So, like, you know, there's like all sorts of hidden recipes that we still don't know yet that exist in the game. This is just some meta master crafting thing that existed for a while, and what, 10 or so people used it to the best they can. And, you know, it may not have been the best way, but I would have done the same thing. You know, if I can control an economy and no one knows how, I would totally do it.
But it's kind of funny that now when they remove the Eternal Orb, that they actually get, like, general public knows about this new crafting method that actually acts kind of like an Eternal Orb. Like, if you have 3 perfect prefixes, like, you can just craft 2 perfect suffixes until, like, you're the only last suffix going to be the YOLO one. So you can get, like, near perfect items still if you get like at least 3 perfect from start.
It must be tough as GGG to, like, sit on that knowledge when people are complaining about the Eternal Orb removal or discussing that and being like, but I mean, you guys aren't considering this important thing that we know that only some people know. It must be tough to make balance changes while knowing that, you know, there's something else here that we're considering that you guys aren't considering, but we can't tell you because that goes against our policies here.
It makes me wonder if, like, Neon, you know, the people who actually play this game at high levels, if people like Neon and whatnot were actually using this recipe on their non-GGG accounts, you know, their little alternate accounts, things like that. It makes you really wonder if they knew it the whole time, like, well, I worked there.
No drama, though.
I'm not calling them out. It makes you
I just wonder if they maybe used this currency with these GGG employees to get some in real life money for selling it.
No,
I've certainly heard tons
Rise,
of, like, RMT accusations and stuff of GGG staff members, and the fact, and people saying that you know, GGG members knew about this or involved in guilds with things like this happening, and, you know, we're using it to earn real life money or, you know, dominate in-game economies and stuff like that. So no hard proof on any of that sort of stuff, but it certainly fueled plenty of the old tinfoil hat conspiracy action. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Specifically, you know, like, I think a GGG employee that plays this game isn't going to RMT. More importantly, they're disqualified from any race rewards or anything like that. It says every single race season. So please, Rise, your tinfoil hat is too strong right now.
I think it's a solid statement. There's definitely proof out there. We just don't know it yet.
We just haven't discovered the proof yet, but it's out. The proof is out there.
The PoE community tends to learn a little bit slow, you know. If EB gets changed, everyone freaks out for like 3 months, and then they're like, hey, you know what? This isn't actually bad. This might be the same thing. Definitely. Some people should look into that.
Oh god, you're creating so much bullshit, Rise. And before Reddit threads, I'm believing your satire right now.
Some of so you were asking earlier why some people are upset about this, given that, you know, well, my stances and GG's stances that this is like an interesting deep part of the economy. It's part of the game, right? But a lot of people see that these activities break the economy. And there's a lot of, you'll often see people say, you know, this economy is broken, they're breaking the economy, you know, this is ruining the economy, things like that. ZiggyD did make a good post that was, you know, when most people refer to a broken economy, they're saying either that the economy is reacting to behavioral changes in the correct way, or it's different, like things have changed. And I think that's like the biggest point. I mean, like, do you guys think that there's anything that's come out of this that has like broken an economy, or how would you define a broken economy?
All right, so I'll talk about this. I mentioned this on stream earlier today. So Chaos, obviously now Exalteds are going to go up more in price. These MetaMaster crafts cost Exalts. So this is only going to further make the Exalted Orb worth more. With the removal of Eternal Orb, the Exalt's already through the roof. So now you got upwards of, what, 55 Chaos to Exalt in Tempest, and upwards of, what, 80 and change in Warbands. Now, there is pros and cons to this. The pros being that fusings at the end of last league were about 40 to 1 Exalt. Now they're like 120 plus per Exalt. So you're getting 3 times as many fusings, so 6 linking is even better. I love it. I love that personally. Chaos Orbs are through the roof, so you know, people say, well, we need a Chaos Sync. I have been crafting all of my endgame gear through Chaos spamming high item level gear. And it's worked out great for me. I have a 2500 armor shield I made, 2200 armor chest with high life. You get lucky. Now, this isn't always going to be the case. You just have to be more creative with your currency than in the past. Yes, Exalted Orbs are worth a lot, but now you can use your Chaos Orbs for crafting jewels or spamming on endgame item level stuff. So it goes both ways, honestly. Raiz, what's your take?
I think it just, like, everything happened so overnight that people need to adapt to it. It's the same thing as when the master crafting change happened. I don't exactly remember what it was. It was like the multi-mod got changed from a cost of a divine to an exalted orb or something, or the other way around, and people were like buying out that currency. And in the end, it stabilized. It didn't even take that long. So people just need to adapt. It's not like you can craft like any item in the game ever. And you brought up a fair point where the economy is kind of always going to be dictated by supply and demand, and to the point where if it's just going to be more efficient to chaos spam stuff, which is pretty popular nowadays because chaos is so cheap, you can get like, you can fully gear yourself that way, we'll be fine. It's just going to adapt itself, and definitely by the end of this league everything is going to be alright in that regard. And I mean, GGG is constantly changing things too, so maybe there's going to be another big patch where somebody's going to finally find the chaos recipe that I've been talking about for months now. I don't know, like, something's definitely going to happen, man, for sure.
DePauli in chat brought up what seems to be the most common concern, is that the chaos to exalt ratio changes. Like, you know, exalts become more expensive in terms of chaos, and most people earn through chaos recipe or selling things for, you know, small amounts of chaos, stuff like that. That's where most people's buying power is, and that sellers don't change their prices accordingly. Like, they don't change the exalt listings for their 1 to 3 exalt items. So people go to buy their 3 exalt item, but the exalts are getting more and more expensive over time, and the prices of the items aren't reflecting that. But all that is that, you know, eventually it reaches a point where it's going to balance itself out. If there's people that you think you can't buy this item because it's getting more and more expensive, it's exceeding your buying power. Now, that's going to be happening to a lot of people, and that person's item's eventually not going to sell. You know, if they've mispriced it, if they're not reacting to economy changes, then eventually you're not going to be able to afford the exalts to buy that, and the person's either going to have to drop the exalt asking price of it, or they're going to reprice in chaos. And I expect we'll see a lot of that over time. It'll take time. Some people would rather not sell an item than sell an item for what they perceive to be less than it's worth, but other people want to sell their items, and they'll drop their prices over time until they become affordable. So it takes time, especially with such a big shake-up, such a rapid change in the economy. It takes time for people to drop their prices and react to these changes.
I agree with that, with the exception of the Consuming Dark. Too many hipsters out there, always sells for 1x. Anyway. AngryWeasel, what do you got to take on this whole Chaos Exalt Fuse ratio?
Well, to be honest, like, before this was announced by the players, you could never call it a broken economy. There was such a small player group that was actually doing this. Mostly, I think the exalt ratio went up just because the people are YOLO exalting left and right. Like I see that for everybody. It's just, let me just try and YOLO exalt this and this. So just generally more exalts are being used now. And yeah, I think it's just more interesting than previous leagues compared to now for sure.
I mean, last time we saw exalts this high was back in Onslaught when there was a suspected dupe, right? I think that was the last time we saw this.
Well, the chaos, wasn't there something with like the chaos recipe working differently back then?
Yeah,
also?
it was. There was no item level
like farm Merville and all that.
There was no item level requirement.
Helicrons and Cruel.
Yeah.
So
it was a little bit different, but
now it's
still, I think a lot of people are talking about like a chaos sync. I think the biggest chaos sync right now is mapping.
Yep.
Honestly, maybe when more people are gonna like get into mapping, because we've had such a big increase in newer players, when more people are going to get more and more into mapping, maybe next league it's going to stabilize because of that, because people
I feel like we've been saying that forever though. I feel like we've been saying that next league people are going to start chaos spamming their maps, but I just think the average player just doesn't invest in maps. I just think
the map changes are pretty significant though this time around. Like it's not like other leagues. This time around it is actually significant, and like there is
maybe next league will be the league.
There's a big difference. Like people were talking about maps. I don't know if we're supposed to talk about this or not, but people were talking about maps and like, oh my god, I can't sustain my level 80 maps and all that kind of stuff. And if you think about it, what's up?
You know, the whole thing is like the whole chaos sync. It's like domination, 10 chaos. Like there isn't one 79 plus map I run without that damn mod on it unless it's broken because they didn't fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then
you run ambush instead.
But it's worth it, right?
Oh, there you go.
It's definitely worth it.
Oh, totally.
Like if you think about it, you know, an 81 or 82 map is like 2 or 3 times more EXP you're getting, you know? The differences are actually humongous. Not only are you getting more EXP, but the difference in the penalties at higher levels and even levels like 90, 91, 92 are humongous, you know? There's so many level 100s in this league. Everyone's just whining about, well, I can't get maps, but in all reality, you're getting more EXP than ever, guys. So definitely investing into getting proper maps not only brings you more currency, it is also a chaos sync, and in the end, you can sell your maps, your 82s, for a couple exalts. We're talking like liquid currency. It's just that it's a map, but somebody's definitely going to buy it, you know, for sure.
In Forsaken Masters, we talked about the potential of pricing some of these high-end metacrafting mods in bulk amounts of chaos. That's more relevant than ever now with this, with the reveal of these crafting methods and things like that. How would you guys feel about the changing of some of those to a large amount of chaos instead of exalt pricings? One of the best arguments I hear for it is that it would be very nice for self-found. People playing that method. I mean, I get not many people want to balance around self-found, but mastercrafting is a big boost for self-found, that self-found playstyle, or people who like to predominantly work towards their own kind of progress like that.
Like honestly, like if I were to change, people crying chaos sync, I'm not saying I like spending 55 chaos to an exalt, but if they did make some of the master mods be more chaos orbs, I wouldn't be against it, because right now, especially considering the only way to get exalts that we know of is selling a mirror to a vendor, it's not very fun. So it would be nice if there was a bit more of a chaos sync. Sure, I'm not going to disagree with that. But in the meantime, I think people just need to be more creative with their chaos orbs and use them for their intended purpose.
If you do high level mapping, you have no issue spending all your chaoses. You could easily spend a couple of 200, 300 chaos a day mapping.
Easily. Like from 88 to 89 on my one character, like running 78 plus maps, I was just dumping chaos after chaos. Like, oh, crit with extra damage is lightning shock round. Nope, next, That's just how I feel. Like, I'm not going to scour Alk. My Alks are more valuable to me once I'm 75 plus mapping for jewelry than a chaos orb. A chaos orb is just for rerolling or a domination mod or ambush mod.
Yeah, but there you go. We're also people that have been playing this game for a while, and we kind of have an idea of what exactly we want to do, and our builds tend to be a little bit better than somebody who's playing the game for the first or second time on like a fresh character. And those people not only are they're gonna roll their map and they're like, oh, I'm 10 chaos into this map, I can't roll 140 plus quant to get more maps. They're gonna be like, you know, this has blood magic, I can't do this. This has elemental weakness, my build's too weak for that. So that's even more and more of a currency sink.
That's a very good point.
So it's going down. It's going down for sure.
But still, you want the curses on you in those maps because they give you the pack size and all the juicy stuff. They're much better than the damage much. I much rather want like on the highest maps like double curse is like the best thing ever. You get giant pack size, almost no risk. You just need to be able to do AoE weakness, maybe vulnerability and temp chain. You know, if you can.
Come on, man! I'm finally making a non-elitist comment, and you bring me down like that. What is it? I'm finally thinking about the average guy, and you bring me down.
Like,
I still
the average guy don't want to do double damage mod either. No, don't get them out to double damage, but that's no fun. You know, you're gonna die.
They would rather keep their character, I think. Than,
That's true. That's true. I mean, I was playing my Val Burning Arrow character, and Enfeeble, as you guys know, is like AIDS to any crit build. Like all 4 of those stats wreck you. And I was like, EE, LE, and Enfeeble, I have to run this. It's got double pack size. Screw it. It took me like, you know, twice as long to clear it, but I ended up getting 3 maps out of it, so can't complain. And so I'll take the curses, man. Get LE weak capped, run Enfeeble with it. Screw it. I don't know. It's just me.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
And plus, you're playing Poison Arrow. What do you care about elemental equilibrium? Screw it.
Hey man, I do the same thing. I'm just looking out for all the new players out there.
Sure. I mean, you are the guy that 5-linked a wide swing last week, so I'll give you that.
So what do you guys think about the impacts of these crafting these crafting methods, though? Especially, well, I guess let's start with like the +3 ones. So now it's, I mean, it's still a fair bit of work. You have to get to level 8 masters and get a decent amount of wealth, but you can much more cheaply craft yourself your GG endgame weapon as a poison arrow character or a staff caster. What do you guys think about the impacts of that?
Well, it will make it easier for sure in the longer term of the league, but at the start of the league, you'll have it wouldn't do anything at all since you have to get that level 8 master, and it would take.
How long does it take to get those level 8s if you're going ham on it?
It's a lot longer than it used to be.
Yeah, and you have to at least I think maybe even up to 2 weeks. Like even though you have to go insanely ham, just sit there do nothing to other than those fucking dailies.
Like these people crafting, like first thing you do is they just do dailies all day. They just buy Katarina dailies all day or whatever they're looking for, you know, Katarina, Vegan, whoever it is. They just spam by those guys all day, and then from there they still need the exalted orbs to even do this. So it's like, you know, this new meta crafting, yeah, it's totally can make you money, but it costs a lot of investment to even get it going. So if you're good at running the economy, it's good for you. But now that this, you know, this is leaked, it's going to change the chaos exalt ratio for a long time until we do get more of a chaos sync.
You'll get in the start of next league will be very interesting because you'll have more people rushing for masters. There's always profit to be made rushing masters for master crafting services, but now more so than ever, and we'll have these people buying exalts early in the league to set aside to craft these once they do get their level 8 masters to craft these things to sell, because you know people are going to get level 8 masters weeks before other people do if they go ham on it. And then they'll sell those people their bows.
Now that all players know the crafting, even wide 6-link bows is going to be much more expensive than before. So it's not going to be the same as it was now that you could just after the news came out, you just bought a 6-link for
good point.
They get for 4 exalt, and there you go. That's not going to happen again.
The
like
value
some
of
GG style balancing, like due to all this stuff, you guys don't seem to like this crafting. There's been a lot of drama, so we're nerfing Poison Arrow and SRS. So there you go.
Grumpy,
no longer has
like, where's this tinfoil hat crap coming from today, man?
What?
They would never. They would never.
In a week, you'll see.
Was the price of
I
a
have
6-link
foreseen
bow? Here's the question though. Was the price of a white 6-link bow was it much significantly lower than the cost of, you know, a 6-linking a bow though? 6-linking a white bow? Because they have to an extent a set maximum value.
4x for take it 72 eye level. 4x. So we're not
that's what it was
for
before
1x.
This was widespread. I mean, I can't imagine it goes up much then.
It will go up like a lot.
It already is going up.
Yeah. So 10x now, I think. Close to.
Yeah, all right. I guess that significantly hits the potential profits to be made there. Like anyone selling a 6-link bow is then gonna price it much higher in the start of a new league, so that people want to buy them for their +3 bows.
Yeah, if you can make it for 3 exalts or less, the +3, so that would mean that normally you would sell them for like 13 to 16x. That means the 6-link in itself is worth 10x.
Yeah, someone said you could get them as low as 2x in before, so yeah, all right, fair enough. Yeah,
it's going up.
Yeah, but this
definitely.
will balance out. I mean, it's like when Poison Arrow got really popular, it went from people realizing that they shouldn't be vendoring +3 bows to like +3 bows being 12 exalts on hardcore, and then it went down to like +3 bows being 1 exalt. In the end, it's gonna be just demand, and it's all gonna balance out. And flavor of the month is definitely gonna be a huge factor in this, for sure.
I guess the
Usually
long-term
very
impact is that it caps the potential value of a +3 bow.
Do people even use explosive arrow on a +3 bow anymore? Or is it just Quill Rain or bust?
Not very often. Core Rain seems to be best for like solo clear speed. Okay. Yeah, in a group. +3s.
Or if you're wearing your comms hard, then you weapon swap for single target and a +3. Some people do that. I mean, it's the most efficient thing to do, but it is kind of annoying to play. But generally, yeah, you don't need the damage. You need the attack speed, which results in AoE. So, yeah.
Got it. So it's good to know. You know, it's actually nice to see like such a big, meta swap. You know, Poison Arrow was always a thing. You had to be on a trap, and it's nice to actually see a completely new shift. These spell type bow skills being more popular. That's been the 2 big popular bow skills. Before it was Tornado Shot or Bust, and now, you know, you hear, is Tornado Shot still viable? That's the most I hear about that damn skill nowadays. And it's like, yeah, it's really good. It's just Split got hella buffed, and the spell type bow skills are really good too. It's nice. I like it. All right, so let's move on to patch 2.0.2. There's been a whole lot of buffs. This was a very good patch for the community overall. It saved some of the baby rage. They buffed the map drop rates from like what, 73 to 79-ish?
74 to 79. What they said was smoothen the curve into level 74 to 79 maps, which is a bit hard to interpret what they mean exactly by that, but I've been hearing people say their 72 plus map drops have improved, so like into 74s could include 72s getting your +2s, increased drop rate there, so I'd say that's probably the case. That's what I've been hearing.
Has anyone actually noticed it? Be real.
A little bit, yeah.
The placebo effect. Like, I just hope they just said it and everyone's like, yes, they did it! And it doesn't matter because they never changed anything. They gave us the magic water, you know.
Small sample size. I mean, I felt like it was better, and I'm hearing from the general community that people are pretty happy with the change. So, I mean, it could well be the placebo effect, exactly. But it seems like the anecdotal evidence overall is pretty strong for it. But yeah, it is too soon to know for certain.
I mean, yeah, like, I did like 3 days straight of like 76 and plus maps, and I kind of noticed it, but I was like, I don't know. The only thing I noticed is the malformation map isn't nearly as crappy as it was before. I feel like they made it bigger, more dense, because before that map was just, there was no mobs in it. Now I feel like there is more. Still not touching that boss though. Hell no. Can they just make it so she's planted in the middle and doesn't run to the wall? That would make that boss fight so much easier.
Yeah, that's sketchy when she sticks herself to the wall, eh? Yeah.
Just use Vol Cyclone, I mean, normal.
Yeah, good idea.
Basic stuff. Why don't you bring a Topaz Flask into this boss fight? Why don't you bring your Vol Cyclone? Like, what?
The stuff people come up with, man.
Vol Cyclone are up. 6 strat.
Yeah. She just Cyclone herself, and then it'll be all good.
Yeah, she's gonna obliterate you, man. She hits so hard. But what else has happened? They buffed some skills. So they buffed Elemental Hit. So they gave 10% more damage to it.
10%, bro. New meta.
Before you all jump on your Elemental Hit bandwagon, this is me saying this now. 10% of nothing is nothing. So there's that.
And I can't believe you were mentioning this.
They buffed Spark. They buffed Shockwave, which didn't need it, and they buffed Detonate Dead, which absolutely didn't need it. But hey, we'll take it. If you guys don't know, Detonate Dead cannot be reflected, so you can get a butt ton of crit multi on that thing, and giving it 10% more damage overall, I think is pretty crazy. What are your thoughts?
But I've seen no Detonate Dead. I haven't seen any Detonate Dead. Have you guys seen anyone playing it?
It'll be out soon. I guarantee you that's going to be played more.
Detonate Dead is garbage. What?
You don't think so? I think it's going to be played more.
See, that's what I thought was the damage was nerfed too much. I thought the damage was nerfed too much.
But you can get global crit through jewels now. I think it's going to be played more.
I don't think so. I think Detonate Dead was way like balanced around Prolif, and since they changed Prolif and haven't really changed Detonate Dead other than like giving it like 2% more AoE or whatever and a little bit more damage, I think it's always going to be extremely limited unless they do something. Just because of Prolif? Yeah, like Fire Trap and Detonate Dead are the best examples of just the game like being balanced about something that was played a lot, which was Prolif. ZiggyD going with their typical, we don't want to change this because too many people play crit builds or whatever logic, and they have to completely rebalance the skills now, I think, for them to be viable, like compared to the other stuff. Because you look at Ball Lightning or like Glacial Cascade, skills that are kind of limited mechanically, but they're so much better than Detonate Dead still, you know?
True,
even the fact that you have to cast twice with Detonate Dead, very big limitation. It's too much.
Okay, and then what do you feel about the Shockwave totem buff? Was that needed?
No, I feel it's like Split Arrow. In my opinion, Split Arrow was one of the best abilities for like the longest time, and ZiggyD went with like, well, nobody's playing this, so let's buff it up a little bit. And this is the same for Shockwave. People are saying it's boring. Not a lot of people are playing it. You know, Incinerate and Flame Totem are a little bit dominant, so they're like, all right, let's give it a little bit of love. Maybe more people are going to use it, and then maybe if it gets a little bit out of hand, then we're going to nerf it. It covers the entire screen. Don't give it more damage, please.
It's so good.
Like I've had this conversation with ZiggyD in the past when they were like changing Shockwave a lot. The first time they changed it a lot, and they announced like a 50% buff or something, and I got a huge.
I remember that. You got a huge hate thread on you on Reddit.
Yeah, people hated me. And ZiggyD actually agreed, and instead of making it 50, they made it 35, and still it was like the strongest ability, and everyone was using it.
That was beyond. It was you and Pox were playing that like crazy.
Yeah. It was really strong back then, but it wasn't very popular, so people looked at it a little bit differently. We'll see. I feel like it's strong. I don't know if this is going to make it more popular. Maybe. People tend to look at it. Oh, it's like, oh, my build got nerfed by 2% block. Now I can't face tank for 10 minutes. I can only face tank for 9.5. My build's broken. ZiggyD, why you nerf ZiggyD? God damn it.
Why are you shaking a cat? Like, what the
Don't have ZiggyD anger out on him.
This is ZiggyD.
Poor salt cat.
They're trying to get out of the room.
Peter.
These are very much meta nerfs in my opinion. Meta buffs, I should say. These are very much meta balance changes. As in, yeah, like Raiz said, people aren't playing this. Let's buff it 10%. People will play it now. That's what it seems like.
They also.
Everybody's gonna play Elihit.
Oh God, please.
Yeah, Elihit was, I don't know. ZiggyD's like, let's just see. They're obviously being super cautious with Elihit. It's had 2 points in the history of PoE where it was crazy good. And then every other time it's been horrible, so it's kind of like, let's just be very gentle with it.
All right, Raiz, you've had a lot of salt. This is my salt fest right now. There's one thing I do not like. Like, I love grinding gear games. Here goes the blanket statement, and then I'm going to say the word but. So everything before but means nothing, right? Is that how it goes?
Okay.
All right. I love grinding gear games. I love everything they do. I really appreciate their customer support, and they do a lot for us. It's a free-to-play game. It's great. However, I didn't say but. I'm tired of the double nerfs. And Elemental Hit was one that happened way back when, where they not only they lower its damage by 33%, they increase its mana cost by 33%. Something happened similar with Ondar's Guile. Now it's Arrow Dancing. They reduced the evasion, which definitely could be needed. Then they added this ridiculous penalty. The double nerfs drive me nuts. Elemental Proliferation. They added a penalty of 30% less damage, and then they nerfed the AoE into the ground. The double nerfs, I can't stand. I wish they would just nerf it, and if it needs to be nerfed more, then add a penalty if you need to. But by adding two things, it kills a lot of things. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. Like a good example is Infernal Blow.
Yeah, Infernal Blow.
I got hammered.
I never really
that was totally unnecessary.
That's pretty interesting. I'm a big fan of the nerfs. I love the nerfs. I mean, if something's Prolif needed that. I wouldn't say Prolif is too weak right now. I'd say it's pretty normal and people are just bored of it. It's like Flame Blast. It got nerfed like 7 times. It's still one of the strongest abilities.
But exactly, so, like, it got nerfed a little bit. They didn't add this ridiculous penalty to Flame Blast. Yeah. They just nerfed its damage. and then they kept nerfing its damage too. It was in a solid state like it is now. It's a
I think
perfectly good skill.
Flame Blast was handled well, I think. Even with the Prolif double nerf. But, you know, Prolif for, like, you know, anyone who wants to play, like, Ice Prolif stuff like now is really, really painful. So playing Ice or Lightning Prolif.
Yeah, exactly. You know, by changing Prolif like that, it's like... Not that you really went crazy with Lightning Prolif when they changed shock stacks from 3 to 1. You didn't do that. But Freeze, you would see once in a while, you see Freeze Prolif specs. But yeah, now it's completely out of the question. Just because Burn was so overpowered, the other two take the
basically, what you're saying is that they need a woman in the office, right? What? Because it's like cooking, right? When you add a little bit of salt and then you can always add more later. But if you add too much in the beginning, it's gonna mess up your stuff, man.
GGG adding too much salt. I get it now.
You're sexist, is what you're saying. You're sexist. Okay.
And before Reddit threads.
Wow.
And before Reddit threads. Thanks, Raz.
That's straw manning. That's quality argument there. Good job, Raz. Good job.
I like how people are still spamming Punchy Hobo. That logic. But yeah, double nerfs has been something I've never been a fan of. Never been a fan of, you know. It's just like arrow dancing. Who actually picks up that nodes other than Uber Itzeri or Itzeri farmers? Anybody? Hell no. Because what kills you in this game? Not projectile attacks,
like
melee attacks.
Well, what about birds though? Birds, they're dangerous. They will kill you at range if you on like scary high maps for sure.
Protected from one thing, killed by 3 others.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, Raz's camera's freaking out.
Oh, what?
You were going all like demonic possession. That's so good.
Oh, that's normal. That's not the cam.
I'm gonna watch it on the stream. That's normal. Okay, all right. I want to watch that on the stream again.
All right, so let's talk about the other buffs in this patch. They buffed the unique jewels, energized armor, energy within, and healthy mind. So one of them was the mana one, which I still don't think is going to be used nearly as much. No one wants to convert life into mana, to the best of my knowledge. But they buffed energized armor, which converts, I believe, 100% ratio of the energy shield to armor. And then, what's the energy within gives 100% life to ES? Is that what it is?
Yes, energy within is very nice now.
There's some.
It was kind of a stepping stone before. Like, so the best spot for it is between Witch and Shadow, that ES life node. They chuck it in the thing, melding, and it was like decent if you like needed a bit more defense, but eventually getting a rare jewel in that slot would just be better, and just not getting those life ES nodes was better in most cases, like mathematically. But now with that change, the 100% life conversion, it is basically without question. If you want a shit ton of ES, you chuck that jewel in there. These jewels are much more attractive now. I like this change overall because I've been feeling like a while the unique jewels are just too outclassed by the rares, so this feels like a good shift for it.
There's also something in the Scion tree. There's the jewel by the projectile damage and the jewel by the life regen. If you put 2 energy withins there, the Scion life wheel will double dip the ES. You'll lose 5% max ES, but you'll get 5% max life, but you'll get 10% max ES for those 5% health nodes. It double dips, takes away 5% health, which isn't too big of a deal if you're going CI. So you can use it in that situation too and get a lot of ES that way. Yeah,
this does open up some potential for heavy ES-based builds that are on the other side of the tree a little bit. Like with that, using that Scion life wheel cluster there. Which is a little interesting.
Do you guys think it's overpowered? Do you think it's really strong, or do you, what are your states on it?
Whatever helps
can't see
CI.
not getting melding. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think with the state of CI at the moment, I don't think it's an issue. But I don't know what impacts it might have on like hybrid or low life or something like that.
Well, hybrid still wants the life and ES %, I would assume, but maybe they'll take the ES as well. I don't know.
Wait, so we're talking about energy within and melding? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it actually like that worth it? I mean,
it gives you 12% ES on the jewel, maybe 13. I think it's 12. And 12. Then that 3% life now becomes 3% ES, so that's 8%, 8%, 8%, and then it's a 6 in what? 6% life, and
the jewel has 12 on it, so that's another. I think it's 12.
Yeah, it's really crazy combination, right? It's like 60% ES overall for
it's pretty much the most efficient ES on the tree for the points spent.
I mean, if you look at it from just ES, it's like 6% efficiency, which is pretty normal for ES. I mean, you can get way higher increases. If your skill tree doesn't travel down, that's 2 joules to travel down, right? So that's 2 skill points to travel down. So you're taking that already.
Yeah, but you're going into Foresight and the Scion tree, so it's worth the pathing. If you're going down to Foresight and Path of Savant.
If you're going between Witch and Shadow, it's no extra points really. It's 2 points to get the jewel, and then you get the melding cluster.
Let's see, 8 is 24 plus 16 is 40. Yeah. Plus 12.
Yeah, but like it's not free. I just really hate this idea of people going like, "Oh, why don't you use Rain of Splinters? It's your build in your build. It's free LMP." It's not. Like you can get something else in there. You can get it. You know.
Yeah, I agree. You have to
attack speed, whatever. So
you have to consider the opportunity cost, which people don't oftenly. And that's what frustrated me about the jewel before. But now it does work out to be really quite good. It's 52 points of ES for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
But it's not even 6. It's really 4. It's
8.6 ES efficiency per node.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're usually pathing down to Foresight and Path of Savant, so those 2 points you're spending for the jewel, you're going to get anyways. So really, you're spending the point on the jewel, and you're spending the 4 points on melding. Because you're still going to go down to Foresight and Path of Savant, or maybe Harrier.
It's good.
So it's efficient pathing.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely, I wouldn't say that it's like the be-all, but it's definitely a option. If you want more defense, you go with this. If you want
good.
A little more aggressive,
the case.
You can definitely take a rare jewel. Although these are definitely much cheaper than something like a proper 4-stat jewel. Like, no question. Those are insane.
Yeah. The power value now compared to the cost of getting a good rare, that's the thing that sold me. Because originally I was planning on just using energy within from a while and switching to a rare jewel once I got a decent one, but now the power gap is much lower, so I'm like, why spend several exalts on a slightly better jewel now over this? So.
And they also buffed energized armor, which is in the best spot over in the Templar tree. You can totally abuse that armor ES, and it's actually fairly efficient armor. Before it was like, I'd rather just pick up unyielding and soul steal and all those other typical armor nodes. But now I think it's absolutely worth to pick up. It converts 100% of the ES to armor as well, and it gives a 22% armor, a huge chunk of armor as well.
I don't think it'll be as popular as the energy from within one for ES builds, but
true.
I mean, you've done a good job recently of showing the potential strength of armor, and that's a good amount of armor to get there. So it's another option for a bit more armor higher up in the tree where you can't get quite as much.
So what else do we got going on here? New Tempest. What do you guys thought? We have Poisonous Tempest, which is absolutely scary, and I'm terrified of even going there. We have Arcane Tempest, which buffs spellcasters. We have Resist Tempest, which is pretty much like the Shrine, where it gives you max resist, and pretty much if you're not capped, it gives you way over cap. What else is there? Could have sworn. Oh, there's the Invasion Tempest.
Oh, I find that so bad. Still haven't
I haven't touched it yet.
I haven't found one yet either.
Oh man!
Have you guys seen any at all? I felt I must have missed like that because I swear they come up like these things come up at least once a day, but I've not seen them at all yet. Fortunately,
no, it's 200% of ES armor. Whoa!
Been waiting in suspense.
I've been. I mean, I don't want to give myself too much credit, but after the Exiles Everywhere race, I went on like a killing spree and said GGG like a 4-page thing about making an invasion race or like 10 invasion bosses, 10 exiles, because people like complain about that. So I mean, I don't want to give myself too much credit, but this kind of feels like it. It would be very cool if they actually took like suggestions from the community when it comes to Tempest, because it's definitely a cool league. I mean, a lot of people complain that it's kind of boring, but I mean, hey man, if you always wanted a 6-link, this is your league. You can get a 6-link for like 5 chaos, and it's a good one too. It's got life and everything you want. It's not just a tabula rasa. So I like it. I like it a lot.
Honestly, this league, like I always love temp chains on hit. I think it's one of the strongest curse on hits, especially when it's corrupted, because you get like a level 11, 12 just for free. You're playing Ice Shot, whatever build you're playing with Chill. They finally nerfed that combination, which was needed for a long time. But these corrupting Tempests, I found so many items with level 11 or 12 temp chains, LE weak on hit for dirt cheap, and it's beautiful for these builds. Yeah. I love that crap.
If only I could get elemental weakness on my frickin' Asiniths, man. I'm like 40 deep now. I got temp chains on hit twice trying to get LE weakness. God damn it.
Sound a little salty there, Ziggy.
I've bought like every Asiniths in the economy whenever I'm online.
You just get angry and
dead there.
What are your thoughts
get angry and log off to the other tower and just start punching stuff, huh?
Yeah, that's basically I've quit the Whispering Ice character, now punching things full time.
Angry, are you excited to do the 10 invasion boss Tempest? If you guys don't know out there, there's a new Tempest similar to the Exile one. Instead of 20 exiles, it's 10 invasion bosses. Invasion bosses are like, without a doubt, some of the scariest things out there. That Leap Slam, GMP, Fireball, Bear Trap guy, God. You know, things like him. Excited to see him again?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Like, if anybody ever watched my stream, they know I have a really weakness for bosses. I just have to do them. Like whatever. Like, it's not worth it. I have to do it. It always ends up killing me in the end. But you know, just
understatement
OCD.
of the year.
Yeah,
it's always like any highlight from Weasel. It's like a boss kill or a boss death.
It's like, hey, let me try this GMP has no problem, guys. Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm just waiting for it to pop up on the PoE Tempest, and I'm gonna go nuts in there for like 5 hours straight. So yeah, that's gonna be the next highlight of a Dead Weasel or 2. Have 3 characters to go, so yeah.
Yeah, but that is the cool thing. Like, they're changing stuff, you know? It's not like Bloodlines when they're implementing mechanics that people had a problem with and some people were, like, fine with. And they weren't changing anything, and now they're, like, adding new stuff. They're rebalancing. It actually feels like a live league. It feels like it used to in the past where they would balance this stuff out because they really wanted to put it in the core game. They said that this is supposed to be a filler league. To me, it doesn't feel like a filler league at all, whatsoever. Definitely, you can see that they're putting in a lot more work.
They said they had bigger plans for the next set of challenge leagues, so I'm interested to see what that is. I really do hope that's the case, though, Raiz, that this is their trend, that they plan on adding more things throughout the league. I'm concerned that it's just because they kind of rushed the expansion out a little bit early and didn't have some things finished. Like, I mean, they didn't have the animation on the final boss skill ready in time for the expansion release.
They just now released.
I'm worried that they just didn't finish it and they were just adding the things now. But even if that's the case, I mean, it's still better to, I think, hold a little bit of content back and release it a little later.
Yeah, but
so I hope they keep doing that.
It's not like Tempest felt empty in the beginning. I don't feel like people complained that much about it. Like in the beginning, where it was repetitive or something like that. I didn't feel it at all.
People were complaining about how atrocious it is for leveling. And mapping, it's amazing. For leveling, it's like, please, you know, I'm playing this character, and here's Abyssal. Like, what do I do? You know, things like that. A
legit thing to come out of my Punchy Hobo challenge, man, is that I talked to Rory about it, and I don't know. Hopefully, they consider this, but so the big thing about leveling was that it was just annoying when you get like an hour thing that blocks you from doing a boss that you need to do. Right? That's like frustrating. So they disabled in a bunch of boss zones, but to me, that's a boring answer. I would much prefer if for the leveling experience they put Tempest on like a 10 to 15 minute timer, a rotation, and then just let the shitty things spawn in the boss fights. And if people want to do the challenge of fighting Calm with crit, then let them go ahead and do it. But if their progression's blocked, then at most they have to wait like 10-15 minutes, and it doesn't really affect their day that much.
You know how fun Comb is with Proc Shield as a bow character?
I mean, you only have to wait 10 minutes if you don't want to do it, Zeno. That's what I'm saying.
Well, 15 minutes while leveling, and a map
it's
keep
like
it in
truly
an hour.
dynamic.
Yeah, that's what I mean, just for leveling. For maps, hours, totally. But for leveling, like 15 minute, like, you know, 4 rotations an hour for leveling, I feel like that'd be such a good solution. It would make the leveling experience much more interesting and dynamic, I think. And the annoyance would be gone without just completely removing things. Because it's boring to have a mechanic that, you know, is, you know, just disabled because it's, you know, because it's shitty feeling. It'd be nice to at least give you that option to give it. I mean, I really wanted to do Brutus with the Tempest, but I didn't get that opportunity.
Another thing I'd like them to change if they're going to keep Tempest in the core of the game is it lasts so much longer on bosses than it does on us. Us, we get like 5 seconds, they get like 20. And you're like, cool, Duresso's Goku mode right now, and he has Seething Tempest. And I have to wait another 40 years. Oh, wait, he got it again. You know, it just drives me nuts. It's too long.
The healing one is much worse. Like, you're trying to kill it, but it's like, almost dead, and then it gets the healing. It's like, no! Goddamn it, I have to fight all over, just get full life.
Well, I haven't encountered this, but how about like a Soul Eater one on like any sort of boss with ads? Most bosses have ads now. Get a Soul Eater that thing lasts like 20 seconds.
Interesting experiences, man. Let us get a Soul Eater Tempest so we can feed a boss all the way up.
I'm okay with the interesting
like a massive Duresso. fully soul-eat it up.
Oh.
But it resets though after the Tempest ends, so even though it gets another Tempest, it would just do like new counts of it, so it wouldn't never
Still,
be
there
like
could be some rad
massive.
screenshots. Well, the rest doesn't get any ads, but Comb with the SRS
Like the
maybe
invasion
obliterating all the SRS.
But it could be fun if they added like the fun Tempest, some like a super rare map mod you could roll, so people could like spam alls or chaos or whatever to try to get these like 10 ghosts or 20 exiles. That could be awesome if you get that. Because I don't know how it can live without that after this league. I don't know. It's like it's been too much fun.
Yeah, are they going to add Tempest as map mods, or are they going to have them randomly spawning? I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to integrate it. Warbands I could see being integrated as, you know, just kind of like exiles, just a bit rarer, occasionally running into them. But, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see.
Just the fun ones. Just the fun. I don't care about the rest of them. Just the fun ones.
Agreed.
Just the fun ones and the ones that drop loot. Okay, everything else is dangerous. Just
can we just make it so that every drop is a legendary, please?
Yeah, please.
Legendary. Whoa, Ziggy, you're done.
I said that on purpose.
Wow.
Doesn't matter. You're done.
Wow.
So I was just playing the PTR of D3 with 2000% legendary drop rate. Every chest, like 4 legendaries pop out. I was like, what? This is how Path of Exile should be.
Then they doubled it.
Red beaks everywhere.
Well, speaking of loot, let's talk about some real-life loot here that AngryWeasel has achieved. If you guys don't know, AngryWeasel was the guy to do the server-first hardcore Malachi kill and merciless, and he got this badass Alienware laptop. So, AngryWeasel, what we really want to know is, how the hell did you do it so damn fast, and what was your ticket to success?
Well, the ticket is having a good team. Like, you would not be able to do it solo, I would say. So,
most of your team died though, like in the normal Malachi fight, yeah.
Yeah, I still had Pam, but I had to do most of the progressing. But still, when we were already done with normal there, we had such a big lead compared to the other teams at that point. So even losing them, I still had a lot of time to go on. And for leveling, flame totems is just so nice. I never had to stop to farm anywhere. I just did straight progressing all the way. And had Pam going for Dominos or a few other zones at the time. Basically, it was just running with the totems, just putting them up in front of you, keep running, and they will kill them up at a certain point, and you still get the XP. So that's, it was what we started out with. The other runner that died was also a dual flame totem. It's just the most effective way right now, I feel like, to level in a new league, because you don't need the gear for it, other than a +1 early on, and you can craft that yourself.
Definitely, and with how difficult the bosses were at the start as well, it allowed you to keep the DPS on them while keeping yourself alive.
Yeah, exactly, and in a team fight, the bosses go down pretty fast. And yeah, so it's not a big issue, and you get double curse with totem setup, of course. So the bosses with tap chains and people on is a joke.
Nice.
Even Piety, that people were afraid of Piety with a tap chain on, like for Piety, of course, is really easy. You can just waddle around her slowly, just taking your time.
Since Temp Chain's buff, you can really notice, how much more of a stronger spell it was than in the past. It's like, what, 10% extra slow than it was last time? Something ridiculous like that. No? No one
I thought it was
remembers?
nerfed.
I thought it was buffed.
It was nerfed with chill.
Like nerfed it with chill, but I'm pretty sure they buffed it since last league.
Oh, okay.
No, guess not. Guess I'm the only one that reads patch notes.
Salt.
It was so long. Too long, didn't read.
Yeah, actually. Was Pam also playing Flame Totem? I thought he was like Cyclone or something.
Yeah, he was melee. He's a lot faster than Flame Totem, but Flame Totem is just much better at progressing. Like you don't even need to be near the mobs to actually get the XP. So you can just keep running, and it's much easier and safer than going in melee. And I take a lot more big risk and just get there fast. So that's the main point of it.
No, do you feel that Malachi was warranted of all the nerfs that he received? A lot of people were saying he was so overpowered and they couldn't handle him. You of all people, flying through the content, do you think he was deserving of all those nerfs?
Well, I'm the wrong person to ask this, honestly, because I was not melee. Like, I feel a lot of the nerfs was directly pointed at melee. I feel for melee what I at least saw from the death bit that he did too much damage. Like it was not a fun time to be melee on him. So in that sense, I think it was fair. For ranged characters, it just made it easier. And again, with a totem character, it is like half the time he attacks the totems, and you basically just have to look out for ground effects and don't walk into a slam. So in that sense, I think it was fair. The nerf, they only nerfed it in normal and cruel. Especially in normal, it took a long time to kill. I know it's like the Act 4 end of time boss and everything, but still, it was a long time. And you have to think about those builds we're running were optimized and everything. A lot of newer players won't have that build. They were trying out their first build, maybe not even looking at the forums, just saying, I want to try this, and oh, this looks fun, and then they end up with some split arrow thing with a no damage bow, and the fight will take a few hours. So yeah, I think it's a fair nerf, and it didn't touch the massive one, so that's still as hard.
Last question.
I thought it was easier as melee, to be honest.
I agree.
I found it easier.
He doesn't throw the worms. The little worm chuck he does, I thought was like crazy when I was playing a spellcaster. But once I had armor, I thought he was a beat stick.
Yeah, right. You just like face tanked him.
Yeah.
I thought it was way easier when I was doing it as melee, and yeah, it wasn't as potion heavy, and the one shots didn't actually feel like one shots, and everything was like a lot more visible. So like in the end, you end up learning the fight anyway. I mean, everyone has to. It was the same for Dominus. People just needed to learn the fight to kind of understand it. But with melee, it was just so visible. It didn't feel as chaotic for me. Then
I feel like they've done a really
casters
good
where I
job
was
of
just, like, running
balancing
around.
the fight for melee versus ranged. The ranged advantage is countered a bit by some of the ranged attacks nicely.
I like how it's like the opposite of how the Atziri fight works. You know, you have to get fire resistance still. You know, those traps on the ground and the little balls, you know, the bullet hell as people call it, are definitely scary. But it definitely feels like, you know, armor is the way to go on that fight, where Atziri armor is like, what? You know? Yeah. It's a good counter. So, if they were to do another giveaway like they did this past league, AngryWeasel, you going for it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like I always enjoy the longer races, like 1 week races or the start of a new league, 1 month. I enjoy that the most of all. So
it was a sick way to start. I loved seeing that sort of competition. That doesn't happen that much, but it was great to be able to like, you know, I went and watched Hellman. He got killed, and then I switched over to Angry and watched him. I was like, is Angry gonna get her, or is it gonna be the next guy? It was an exciting moment.
I was sweating like crazy. My fingers in the end was just completely numb. Like I was so tense just sitting there.
You were so focused mode, man. It was cool.
How pumped were you? Were you like, yeah? Did you go nuts?
Yeah, I screamed like people were losing like 10% of their hearing ability when I actually killed them.
Awesome. Dude, that's what it's all about. Hellman, you got competition again, man. I know you're in chat.
Hellman's death was glorious, though. It was such a glorious death.
Best in league.
The balls on Hellman going in there with a Tempest was amazing. I mean, you and Pam waited. Well, you waited, you know. And Hellman, I was like, if he's going in there with the Tempest, the balls on him right now is just unreal.
He went to the Dureso area, and I was like, I'm not going to the Dureso with like extra, I think it was extra cold damage or something. And then we saw him actually going there. It's like, oh shit, I have to go there. But
so that's cool. I love that you guys like pushing each other like that. It was awesome. That sort of competition I hope we see more of.
Yeah, exactly.
Racing is really fun.
Here we go, Raiz. Sounds like
what a segue, Raiz.
What a segue. I didn't do anything.
I'd like to
into
introduce a new segment called Raiz Rants.
No, I just can't understand like GG's approach to these sort of things. Like even this we were talking about, you know, everyone's super hyped up. Like so many people were watching this. Everyone was so interested in it, and it feels like support this league when it comes to racing was just really not there. I mean, people were complaining a lot about the Ember Wake. You know, GG kind of gave us some false impressions about, you know, this being like a fresh start for newbies, and you know, then they do the Ember Wake season where it's like basically the signature race is you get randomly one shot, and I wasn't even playing melee, and it really hurt. I just really wish they would show more support for racing. because people are really interested. Like people are really enjoying that sort of stuff. And always, whenever there's a 1 week, people are watching it. You could watch like Eat Up with 3,000 viewers or whatever, which is ridiculous for PoE numbers. You know, getting to that level 100. It's great. GGG.
So,
please.
I raced casually this season. I did whatever races kind of just lined up with my stream and loved it. Had a lot of fun. Loving, you know, I loved doing descents and stuff like that. And I played a few of the other, you know, kind of regular races and had a good time with them. But so what was missing there for support for like the people that want to get really involved in racing? That's why I'm curious. I didn't get to see that perspective myself. What was missing?
For new players to join races?
Well, from your perspective, like what's upset you about this season? I feel like I'm not getting the full idea
for
of.
For me, what upset me was generally the mods. You know, it was just very, very random. It wasn't counterintuitive to anything that was happening before, and it just wasn't fun. I mean, if you want something fun, offer something to players that they enjoy. You know, challenges are cool. People enjoy challenges for sure, but you can like give players challenge by like rewarding them with like extra mobility or something like that, where they have less time to think, for instance, because they have to compete against other players. Punishing them is just not very cool, and I felt like for new players it was difficult to get into it. A lot of the top racers quit because they just couldn't get their runs in. They would get randomly one-shot by something, and there's like, well, okay. I guess that's that. You know, I woke up at 5 a.m. to do this race, and no matter what, I couldn't have avoided the situation because I could have geared myself up. I could have equipped the chest piece, for instance, which doesn't happen in races, but if you do it, some other guy won't do it, and he will get the RNG, and he will get lucky, and he will get that top run while you're just going to be stuck there and probably die anyway, because it doesn't matter. Like, when you get one-shot by, you know, Brutus's hooks because he randomly critted you, there's not much you can do. There's really not much you can do.
So the signature race this season especially was just not, like the mod for it was just not very enjoyable. Do you think then, in the future you'd like to see signature races rather than being just like added challenge, being more kind of like, I guess, added excitement then?
Yeah, I think so.
What sort of thing would you like to see? Do you have any ideas?
Challenge, because this is something that Moore suggested that I really, really liked. Just give players less room to think, give them turbo, give them something like that where, you know, the average racer's skills are still applied. It is more challenging because other people have the buffs also, but you know, it's more fun because your character moves faster. And I don't think people, because like the counter argument to that is you can't use that character later on because they would be faster, so they would have to go to Void League, right? But I mean, who really cares about like level 20 characters and all that kind of stuff? And even the rewards, a lot of people, I don't really care about the rewards. A lot of people complain about the rewards. You know, GGG didn't even announce like the ending of the season. That was really odd. They didn't do like an invitational like they did last time. I don't know. It just felt like a disappointment, especially when they announced that they're going to be listening to players, changing the racing meta, you know, and it was all flamethrower. Really.
Do you think that they spent maybe too much time on PvP in the last go-around and they didn't invest enough time on racing?
Oh.
Please. Well, now you started him.
Zeno, please. What is this?
What's the point of calling it a Ray if you're going to be, you know, just pussyfooting around it? Come on, let's go.
I really don't care for PvP. They spend a lot of time on it. I don't think racers require like ridiculous things. You know, racing is there, like no matter what. The base is always there. It's healthy for the game for races to like evolve because players are learning how to level fast, and that's really the crazy part for me when it comes to all of this is that whenever I do any sort of speed leveling or whenever like anything like that happens, or like a beginning of a league happens, people want to learn how to level fast, right? Like that's pretty normal. People want to level more efficiently. They want to reroll more often. They don't want to deal with the same stuff and take 5 hours to get to normal Merville. They don't want to do that. But for whatever reason, that's completely in their mind disconnected from, or the mind of an average player disconnected from racing. It's like learning how to race does not equal how to level fast. And maybe if GGG would put a little bit more pressure onto something like that, then more people would be interested and they would better themselves as well. With PvP, you know, it's something fun to do, but it's not something that's going to better you in the core game. I think.
You know, something I think that would be great, before back in Nemesis, Onslaught, and even, you know, prior to that, we had these like 1 week races right smack dab in the middle of the league, and they were awesome. And I would always come back from them. Before I even started streaming, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go play this 1 week race. And then afterward, I was like, well, I got some currency that's going to carry over to hardcore. I'll go play hardcore. You know, I'll go play Nemesis now. I thought those were awesome, and I would love to see those again. Obviously, they have nothing to do with the racing season. They're just kind of in the middle, in between. But I don't know. What do you guys think? That would be a good idea for GGG to do?
Yes, I love 1 week races.
Yeah, me
Who
too.
hates that? Like, who doesn't like it? The only counter argument for that is that they don't want to give players like access to multiple types of content. They don't want overlapping content, so I can kind of understand that. And obviously, they have the access to the numbers. They know when it's best to launch a 1 week or something like that. But even now, I feel like, you know, there's far more people offline on XYZ or AFK or something like that than there were even a week ago. It's like visible. So maybe it's time to actually start launching some sort of stuff that would get players a little bit more involved. Like the 2 week charity race or the race where the reward were MTXs. Doesn't seem like it required that much work, and it was definitely a lot of fun. I mean, you can't name me one guy that was like, I'm not doing it. Maybe people that play standard just by default, you know, they don't really care about anything else. They just care about the core game. But most players are there for the fresh start, for the competitive aspect of
that
things.
Fresh economy, which brings me to my next point. A 1 week race, Exalt to Chaos ratio is very, very low compared to what we're at right now. And because of that, you want your Chaos sync. Well, here's a good alternative, a way to build up Exalted Orbs, because when the leagues generally end, they go to the parent league. You know, the 1 month softcore would go to Warbands, 1 month hardcore would go to whatever. Or excuse me, the 1 weeks would go to Tempest. And that's a way to build your economy for over that week, you know, while racing and having a fun time.
Yeah.
You can come out of it without being too far behind or even having made a profit if you have focused on that.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'd like to see is, in the race season, a couple of big, kind of like more impactful, more exciting events, things that people would want to like get in and watch the top races do, more than just like, because I mean we have many races each day, and you know there's tons of signature races, there's tons of what's the name races. There's not like a big like excitement moment. So it'd be nice if there was like, you know, maybe once a week or twice a week, kind of like a bigger, like it could still just be a 1 hour race. I'm not talking like a longer race, but like a more exciting, more impactful race, something that had like a bigger reward, had like a really crazy out there modifier or something like that, something different that's not in the normal race season, to sort of to build that excitement and to have those moments like the laptop hunt happening on a regular basis for our Path of Exile would keep people heaps more engaged and would promote more people getting into racing as well. They'd see that. And they'd see the excitement of that. I was like, I'm gonna give that next one a go.
The two
even a T-shirt or something like that could
anything.
Get people
interested.
Stash tabs, like
something
obviously we
different
can't
than
tell
what they
GGG
give
how to
now.
spend their money, but I mean a couple stash tabs really wouldn't hurt them, and I can guarantee you a lot more players would join. I know players who are making
golden stash tabs,
multiple
bro.
accounts and like switching out, and they don't want to buy stash tabs because they don't want to spend the money, so they're like messing around with multiple accounts. You wouldn't need that, you know. They would definitely come along for those races, learn something more about the game, possibly get a reward, you know.
During in Ambush Invasion, we had that 2 week charity race where they gave out like microphones, headsets, keyboards. It was awesome. Everyone came, everyone donated, got that little ugly face mask. Remember that thing? And it was just a good time. It was like, oh my god, Invasion Ambush, this should happen more. It was a great way to like, you know, there was a lot of like player coming back. There wasn't as many people falling off. People wanted to play Path of Exile. And then we had the 1 month MTX races where we got the Sanguine and the Cerulean sets. People still, to this day, hey, where'd you get that MTX? I can't buy it. Oh, shit. ZiggyD fell off.
Oh, what?
Your video.
That's weird.
But yeah, I mean, that was a lot of fun, those races. And I hope to see those again in the future. I don't know.
For sure. But like even if you look at it from a marketing point of view, I mean, I know GGG doesn't look at these things this way because like many of the suggestions for like regarding Twitch, they've like disregarded for the most part. But like even if you look at it from a marketing point of view, I mean, how many people every day do you get where they're like on your stream where they're like, "Hey man, I'm new to the game. I found it through Twitch, or I found it through your stream," or something like that. It's a huge factor. More people watching races, more people watching PoE means better business for GGG. It must pay for itself. So I just really don't understand this approach, where they're not really invested into it. Especially after being invested so much into PvP.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's shots fired, but it's the truth.
It would be really nice if they made more. Especially like I really enjoyed the Descent and Endless Ledge races, like the shorter ones, because they're like new game, but they still have like the same tile set, so they wouldn't take as much for them to make. But still, it would be nice that they have these special races that wasn't like the same. Go through Act 1, 2, 3, and get your points. So I would like to see more of them as well. That would be awesome.
People really like those.
Yeah, that would get me into racing for sure, for those shorter races.
Fuck.
We're just waiting for your camera, Ziggy. It's cool.
It's
more cats incoming.
Killing me.
Reap. Well, while you're messing around with that, this race season, do you think that... All right, so the biggest problem with this race season was it just wasn't diverse enough? There was just... Everyone was playing the same build? Is that what it came down to, Raiz?
Well, there's always going to be a best build. Like, let's not kid ourselves. There's always going to be a best build. I just hated the fact that they put in all this work into balancing all these different skills, like Ice Nova, Storm Call, Ball Lightning, Glacial Cascade. Like, those are higher skills, but Incinerate, Flame Surge. Like, people are actually using Flame Surge for leveling, and if you look at it, all of them are pretty equal when leveling up. Even EK, like a lot of people disregard EK. EK is actually pretty solid for leveling in a racing environment. If you get that lucky rustic sash, whatever, right? And like all of this goes down the drain. All of that hard work with balancing goes down the drain with just one simple. I'm playing a Scion. It takes me like 4 minutes to mule a flame totem on a witch, but I'm gonna do it in a 1 hour race because it's more efficient because it's flame totem. I just really feel like there was a lot of lost potential in there, and they should really look into stuff like this more in the future, because it wouldn't require a lot of balancing, especially when they ask for feedback. And they've run in the beta, they've run like beta races, and they've asked for feedback, and I know many racers said the feedback. Top players, average players. Like, I was very like specific about this when it came down to it, when it was like, guys, just send them feedback. And I know people did, because they sent it also to me, and it was good feedback, and none of it happened. So a lot of lost potential there, and room for players to learn also.
Sorry.
There's the camp.
Proxy rip.
Nice. But in the future, I just want to see more 1 weeks, all that kind of stuff. And if the racing season gets something more out of that, that'd be really cool. Rewards. Give us rewards.
Use your reward.
Zeno's gone.
Oh, sorry. I was muted while I was trying to play Troubleshoot Guy here. Golly. All right.
Technical issues.
We did it. All right. Anyways, so Raiz, I appreciate your 2 cents on this. It was salty, but you actually give some good points.
I'm hoping that it brought something to the table. Like, it wasn't pure salt. I'm hoping somebody's listening to this and maybe they agree. And maybe if you want to get into racing, next season is definitely a great opportunity. We're gonna see how it turns out, but try and just think about it this way. If you're learning about racing, you will enjoy it. I guarantee it. It's always the same for everyone, where it's like, oh, I don't want to learn the basics and all that. It takes you like a day to learn the basics, and then you just improve further on your mechanics.
Yeah, it's iterative.
That's really cool.
It's really enjoyable.
Yeah. But you have to, like, in the beginning, I mean, I haven't raced for like 8 months, and then last 2 seasons, for like 8 seasons, and then last 2 seasons I really got into it, and it was really counterintuitive once I got down the very like basic stuff, like some of the logouts and TP scrolls, and when to pick up what.
So let's go to the next part here. We're going to be talking about the Q&A. This is the part where you guys get to ask any of us for a general question about the game. If you could direct them at ZiggyD Live, he's going to put them in a little copy paste here. and we'll go from there. And we're not talking Hearthstone copy pastas. Thanks. Any of you attack helicopters out there?
You know, you can never say that, Zeno, on Twitch. Reverse psychology is strong, yeah.
I love those copy pastas, man. I sexually identify as a dominus every time God touches me.
First question comes in from Brainbuster. What do you all think about the new Regal recipe? Useless, words, stuff, something. It's 3 rare items, same type, like 3 times gloves, 20 quality, and the same name. Do they have to be the same type? I thought they just had to be the same name, 20 quality. They do have the same type as well.
They have to be rare, same name, 20% quality.
Oh, it's so tedious doing a recipe like that.
There's your
Yeah,
answer.
I would never do that. Since the maps now, from 75, you get the Regals, like useless swimming in Regals. You can't even sell them in Tempest anymore, I feel like.
Yeah. Regals are everywhere now. It's super easy to get into 75. Item level territory. I would never use that recipe.
You don't use Regals anymore either. I mean, Regals really blew up because of maps, and now everyone's just chaos spamming. So, I mean, if you Regal your maps above 73 or something like that, and you don't have a map base, I mean, you're doing it wrong. We're not playing Beyond anymore. You really have to adapt to that and then get a nice build.
Regals are good for jewels. Okay, get out of here.
I guess, yeah. I guess they're.
They do
Are
chew
they
up a lot of
actually
my
good?
Regals.
Like,
Yeah, totally. Regal is good value. I mean, it's only one step off of full prop. Alt spamming and regaling a jewel is
I have 4
pretty damn good value.
perfectly rolled jewels through regaling and exalting.
I've been regaling them, but I never really got anything good. But I never looked into the actual values where, like, how many, you know, prefixes, suffixes, or whatever. How are my options? You know, when I'm looking at a shield that I'm about to exalt, it's like, well, I have a 4 out of 11 chance that I'm gonna get something good. But in here, I really haven't looked at the numbers, so I can't comment. But it wasn't too favorable for me so far. But that's RNG.
So what's the next question we got?
As Will Rye asks, how long do you guys run maps white? When do you chisel, alt, roll them? Do you guys do any white maps these days?
Nope.
Ever since the changes to the early map mods, I make sure I at least transmute all low-level maps, because there's never anything you can't run generally on low-level maps.
Yeah,
So they did
especially
a good
after
job
the
of
new
kind of
map
easing
changes.
that. Yeah. I don't think white maps is a thing anymore.
It's up to like 74, I think. Up to 74. Before that, that's like all easy modes.
The question of whether you chisel and like chaos spam maps kind of comes down to, well, if you're being economic, it's can you buy maps for cheaper than 4 chisels at that tier? Like, you shouldn't be chiseling maps if you can buy the next tier for, 1 to 2 chaos.
Well, there's like many factors. The biggest one, in my opinion, when it comes to when do you actually start rolling your maps is Dried Lake or Aqueducts or whatever you prefer farming, If you don't have a map base, you want to get into maps as fast as possible and roll easy mods for like pack size or magic monsters or something like that. But generally, if you have a map base, I mean, you're sitting in Dried Lake until level 78 or level 80 is what most people do nowadays. And even this, like, pretty early into the league, it's been like a month. It's still more efficient to just farm some other stuff, even if you don't have a base, and then buy a bunch of, like, 75 maps for 2 chaos each, because people just have a lot of those. So
yeah, it's not a bad strategy, just bypassing the entire lower level map system.
Exactly, yeah. So it really depends entirely on how strong your character is, if you can actually, like, well the question was specifically about alt rolls, but alt rolling I think you should always be doing for pack size no matter what, and then once you're done rolling for pack size or magic monsters, you should really get into just alking and chaos spamming them, because it's going to be worth it anyway. Unless you can buy cheaper maps and run them with alts as well. But, I mean, at that point, you should be pretty high level.
Personally, it depends on the character. Some people like to farm Dried Lake forever, but if you're new to maps, it's important to get into maps. Just to learn how the map rolls work. Farming Dried Lake will not train you at all for maps.
That's a good point, even for experienced players, to test the build, to start testing it on easier map mods before moving into the more difficult variants of those same map mods.
There's no reason not to roll your maps now, because the extra damage as fire or whatever is only like 50% in lower tiers. It's nothing too crazy. You're not getting blood magic in these lower tiers. You're not getting curses in these lower tiers. The degen is only 20, or the regen is only 20% less effective. They're very easy mods. There's no reason not to run them, and it's good practice, I think. If you want to farm Dried Lake forever, you can do that too. But then when you get into maps, you're really, you know, behind the curve if you're a newer player. For you vets out there, do whatever you prefer. Everyone's got their own little way of leveling. What question do we have next?
Next question comes in from Wallow. Do you think GG should introduce an official Twitch channel that is a 24-hour day showing highlights, build video, hideout builds? All right, so they did have an official Twitch stream. Do you guys think it would be... What do you think they could do extra with that, I guess?
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Just posting with it
there was
doesn't really
this
do
thing
much.
in the past that I don't know if it ended up getting public, but there used to be a Twitch idea, for a Twitch channel idea for GGG, and it feels like it all like kind of died off, even though a lot of me and a lot of the streamers were very involved in the project, I think, and very much willing to like make a Twitch channel basically by themselves, with GTG not necessarily involved, but like going through that, like putting out everything through that channel, and it just never happened. A lot of the suggestions about Twitch are completely ignored from my perspective from GGG.
I know Smite has a channel that does pretty well. It's an official Smite channel that's done very well for the game, and they have like, you know, regular casters come on and cast things. If they had a system where you could spectate racing, that would kind of go against their keeping things secret. But if they had a system like that, that would be like perfect for it. Having people could just activate races.
Yeah, but you could like activate if you wanted like it to be shown there if you're a racer. So you say, okay, I don't
like profiles,
mind
you know.
Yeah,
you can keep it private or you can make it public. I mean, I think it's embarrassing, honestly. Like, there's no other way to call it. If you look at it this way, the fact that there was an invitational last race season, and you know, 3,000 or 4,000 people, which is again huge for PoE numbers. We're watching Noogie stream like multiple streams of other people when they were racing, you know, and there was no support from GG when it came to that. It was really embarrassing, you know. It was a community effort. It turned out okay just because Noogie's a beast, but it could have been so much more. It could have been so much more even without the broadcasting system that obviously would take them a lot of time.
Yeah, I definitely think there's more that could be done there, more shows and stuff like that. The problem is that most streamers want to do stuff on their own channel, but I think a lot of us are willing to take a bit of time out of our weekly schedule to do a little something extra to help grow the game.
I wouldn't mind that. The thing is, too, ultimately Twitch is, in order for a Twitch channel to get started, even in GGG's perspective, it's going to end up costing you more money than it's going to make you in the long run. And it's going to be like, Twitch is just a snowball. Once you get known, you know, it just goes from there. But it takes a while to even get those kind of channels even started. And I think and in terms of business, you know, in the long run, it's worth it. But it's just a hassle in the beginning.
I think getting an official Twitch channel might not be the answer. I think community grown content is the answer. But I think more support for more community-grown content would be good. More encouragement or opportunities to cast races and things like that, and do other things.
We're not even talking
like stuff.
We're not even talking money or anything like that. Just
not.
encouragement through
not for us,
like
for
further.
Not many streamers
exposure.
Actually care about like getting given money to do some promotion or something like that. We want opportunities.
It's all indirect, right? Like, if you're on the official GGG channel and you're streaming at that portion, you're like commentating on a race, for example, it's indirect exposure anyway, so it's benefiting the streamer, but it's definitely further benefiting the game. And I mean, a lot more people are gonna join the Path of Exile channel while looking for that sort of stuff than, you know, Johnny 11211 that's like you know, streaming some random race and commentating on him and nobody knows him.
Well, think of AngryWeasel here. The guy has already proved himself to be a better player than probably all of us. Sorry, Raiz, get wrecked. And you're a newer streamer, right? And it would be a great opportunity for you to go on this GGG thing and be like, look how awesome I am, guys. Look, I prove my theories. You know, it's great for people just getting into streaming, and I would totally back it up. Because right now, like, you know, me and Ziggy, we do this like good guy attitude where we're like, hey man, this guy needs to be partnered. Let's host him a shitload, like lifting your bow, you know. Like we're out to help people out, but it'd be nice if GGG was like, here you go, guys. Here's a channel to do that. I'd love it.
I do have to counter by saying that Bex has done an excellent job with a lot of support in a lot of other areas and helping us out and community interaction and management. Just there's always more that can be done, right?
She is. Yeah. She's the first kind of like liaison between us and GGG we've ever had. You know, normally you just message the big dog and hope for the best. Now Bex is like handling all of that, and it's perfect.
Whenever I'm like, Bex, could I get some like screenshot? The other not long ago, I was like, Bex, would it be possible to get some like screenshots of bosses in action? And like, she's like, yeah, okay. And then, like next day, this like big dump of awesome like action screenshots of bosses doing their skills and stuff. I'm like, my God, she's incredibly helpful.
Even more, like this was crazy. Like 20 minutes before the league launch. I was supposed to play like a poison arrow character, and people were really concerned about a certain bug on Malachi. And I messaged Bex, and she's like, "Give me 20 minutes." And they actually like went there and tried to recreate the bug, and they're like, "Well, it doesn't happen anymore. We apparently fixed it at some sort of some straight." And I'm like, "Oh, holy shit! You're about to launch this game, and you're like looking into actual players' concerns, because it wasn't just my concern. You know, it was all the people that wanted to play Poison Arrow, and this like really answered it. So I think it's extremely cool that they're looking into stuff like that.
I say we go to the next question. We got time for about 2 to 3 more.
Okay. All right. I'll skip that question then. If we're oh my God, there's so many joke questions in here. I've just been mass copy pasting them.
Let's get a joke question.
You want a joke question? Sure. What does Raiz think about adding punchy hobo races?
God.
All right, next question.
Why is Weasel sexy? All right.
Damn, that's some Kappa pride.
It's the beard, guys. It's the beard.
Okay. Here's one from Vamp. What is the best league you guys have ever played, and why? Now, I mean, it's pretty hard to not say Tempest. Now, you might say it used to be Nemesis, but Tempest is.
Ambush or Tempest, one or the other.
Invasion.
Both very good mechanics.
Yeah,
Invasion?
Well, they fixed Invasion. It was awesome.
When they fixed Invasion, yes. The beginning of Invasion, no. But when they fixed it, yeah. I mean, Invasion nowadays is kind of a joke. There was some content where, I don't remember what it was, but you got to fight Invasion bosses, and it was really a joke nowadays because of all the wombo combos and obviously the average skill level and everything. Like, the game is getting easier and easier with time by default. But when Invasion was happening, when they fixed the bosses, they put in the work, they did it a couple times. Oh my goodness, so much fun.
So fun.
Great.
The chaos apparatus dude will still melt you in a second if you have bad chaos res.
Yeah.
That guy hurts a lot.
Well, you think about Ambush, it's been around now for what, year and a half, nearly 2 years? And you still get excited when you see a lockbox. You still roll those boxes. So Ambush, I think, in theory, was like one of the best, ideas they've come out with. And Tempest now, like you said, ghost busting, corrupting Tempest, you just go nuts. You got 4 hours to burn, let's do it.
On one Tempest?
Yeah,
one Tempest, yeah. I just put up 30 maps.
Me and Ziggy did that when it was back in the Chanel map. That's a channel for all of you who don't speak French.
The Chanel.
The Chanel map.
Chanel corrupting was pretty glorious. There's a lot of questions about warbands still. You guys asking about warbands? Go watch the last episode. We did an entire warbands themed episode. Nothing has happened in warbands since then. So
right back there.
Apart from the 72 mirrors, but yeah, check out last week's episode. We had warbands people on. We discussed warbands in depth. Here we go. I think this is one for Raiz. Vericius. How do you feel about the Incinerate totems versus Flame totems?
Incinerate totems are better, hands down.
For just about everything. That's all I heard.
What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, we could talk about this for a while, but generally, crit, like when you look at just the number of values, I have a pretty okay video about this. It was pretty early into the build, but I have a pretty okay video about this. But generally, the numbers are behind it. I'm not specifically going to talk about the numbers. You get more projectile range, resulting in more AoE. You can use GMP, which is pretty mandatory in my opinion, versus like a Rain of Splinters in an end game build. So you do more damage. You have to invest less nodes because Flame Totem without crit is pretty garbo. so you get less nodes invested, so you can put that towards survivability or more damage. There's just, I mean, there's just so many things. Placement speed, like the survivability of your totem, isn't that important. So quality on Incinerate with the projectile speed is great. The placement speed for spell totem is also better because of the quality. Like, it's just way, way, way better.
Nice.
Right,
I hear people disagreeing, but that's good.
Really?
Yeah, I hear lots of
them.
people. It seems like a pretty heated. It seems like a pretty heated flame totem versus incinerate totem, kind of like sports teams or something.
I mean, there's no argument. Like, this isn't an opinion. We're talking numbers.
I mean, people
right
say that
now,
about their sports teams too. No,
I
I
can see it with like Rarity. Rarity would be the best example of where, in my opinion, Flame Totem is superior to Incinerate
because of the
Totems.
extra support gem requirement.
Exactly. But
what
in general, more potential for scaling for Incinerate Totem, even though Flame Totem can get crit and all that.
But still, Flame Totem, you can just have a +2 3 link, and you're ready to go 10k DPS in Act 4 Merciless, and that will like you would get easily 100 mil plus, like easily. And
yeah, I'm specifically talking about like, you know, mid-tier maps, something like that. Like, I even think Incinerate Totems are better like once you get past like the 50 global spell like cast speed mark, but you know, that is opinionated.
All right, next question comes in from Airdraken. With these big races with prize pools that we were suggesting and talking about, their question is, should they maybe have like an entry fee? How would you guys feel about like a microtransaction entry fee with the potential of winning something in return? So
gambling?
putting a little bit of a gambling aspect. I mean, Twitch loves gambling, man.
I'm against it. I think that's
Having
a
a little-
bad idea.
I think
Let's
it's
talk
a
about
good
having
idea. I
leagues.
just don't like it.
You just don't like it.
Yeah, it's like boxes or, you know, any sort of other game, what any sort
You
of
don't like the
what any other
boxes?
game has, like repetitive stuff. I mean, people really enjoyed the boxes. It was kind of random and all that, and people really enjoyed that. Maybe not like make content gated, because that's not something that people enjoy, but some sort of pay and gamble kind of thing. I don't think people would mind that. It would probably be good for the game, but I personally don't like it. But it would. I think it would improve the game.
It would turn the event from more of a everyone plays it because it's really fun to people get excited watching it, which, you know, is, we have regular races for everyone to play. It could have some positive impacts. I don't know.
I mean, you can't do it like in H1Z1 where they basically announced all of a sudden that they're like battle royale or whatever. This is a really weird example, but yeah, now you're gonna have to pay to do it. Like, they basically can't do something like that, or the community is just gonna hate them for something like that. They definitely cannot do something like that. But
You
something
can't do it
that
as long
feels
as
fun and
cheating
rewarding and
exists.
promotes the game is good.
Like, as long as there's cheaters out there, man. You can't be thrown in
I
gambling.
mean,
when
cheating
cheating-
always exists in everything, doesn't
Right,
it?
so why would you bring in MTX points or anything like that into it when there's a
Well, that's like
possibility of
saying
something being
let's not
extremely
play
skewed?
poker with real money because people know how to count cards and shit. I mean,
No, all right. First off, you don't count cards in poker. You count cards in freaking
Whatever.
blackjack.
whatever.
You get my gist. Like, I don't know. It would be completely skewed, and it would just be a huge salt factory. Oh my god, I can hear it now. Anyways, let's
I
just
think
change
they
the
could
subject.
do it in a way where it would be good. I think they definitely could do it. I mean, GGG's smart enough. They've shown it many times, and I think they deserve a little bit more than they're getting from the community. You know, they often get a lot of shit for, like, you know, here we go. There's like 4 new pets, and players, instead of being you know, hey, new pets, they're like, why don't you fix this and that? So
the best
like
YouTube
this
comment
would definitely
regarding
still
that is
lacking
like,
with my
instead of adding these pets, they should fix the Atsiri bug, and in that patch, fix the Atsiri bug.
yeah.
What's funny is it's like they assume the art team is the people who are in charge
Yeah.
of fixing it. Siri. It's like, yeah, they're busy drawing this picture while updating content at the same time, guys. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, we need to get those artists on the bug fixing. It's much more important.
We need every last graphic designer on game development right now.
I want like MTX for a discharge. Like, it does show no graphics at all, so I can actually play with other people.
There you go.
It's like how some
Now we're getting onto
skeletons
the
was with
topic of options to turn off effects, man, which a lot of people want. I'm all for when it comes to that sort of thing. I'm all for options. If
Just
it's
a
an optional
minimalistic
thing, I'm
or
all
something.
for it.
Minimalistic setting or whatever, just something.
Yeah, just like reduce particles by 50%. I don't know how hard something like that. This is armchair development supreme right here, but I don't know how hard
I
something
think it's
that is
one
like
of those
that, but,
things where GGG has like a real obsession about it. Like when a lot of people were complaining that PoE doesn't quite look as good as other games and all that kind of stuff, when really it boiled down to, you know, personal preference. But GGG definitely, you know, they're in the center, so they're hearing all of that stuff. And there was like a really frustrated comment I remember way back from Chris when he's like, well, no wonder you think your game looks bad if you like have shadows turned off. So I feel like they're really obsessed about just having the game look really well, and balancing that out is something really tough for them.
I mean, the guy who just won a really nice gaming laptop wants discharge toned down. I mean, I'm just saying.
I want to play with people. Come on, guys. I'm just sitting there all alone.
He won a laptop and he can't even play.
It's impossible.
What a bomb.
I'm kidding.
Nice.
I'm kidding. It's all in jest. I think that concludes this episode. But before we go, AngryWeasel, go ahead and give yourself some shameless plug. Let's go. Where can people find you?
Well, they can find me at AngryWeasel/XLII, and I'll do most of ghost herding, as I call it, basically just running after a lot of ghosts. Do a lot of fast maps with my discharge, mainly alone. Do some fast maps with my other cog wander, mainly alone. But it's going really fast a lot of times, and it's still alive for now. But until we meet some boss that will top me. But
Rise, would you say his cock wander is better than your cock ball spec?
I didn't play cock and balls. I played the cock knocker and the cock
the
slammer.
cock knocker. That was what it was.
Get your facts straight.
I'm sorry. I have to catch up on the cock meta.
Balls is some sort of rip-off, man. I did it first. What are you
talking? Now that cock isn't in the meta anymore, we need to all learn what cock builds are really good.
Yeah. Put under the category cock magics, and there we go.
Cock magic? Got it. So, Rise, where can everyone find you at, sir?
Well, you can find me at Twitch TV RaizQT. Sorry I bored you guys so much with the racing stuff, but hopefully in the future, you know, maybe somebody's going to be actually thankful about this. But in general, yeah, if you want to check out my stream, it's at Twitch TV RaizQT. Same name for the YouTube channel. And you better be fast, because I'm going back to that D3 life in a week, so just keep that in mind.
Well, you just lost 1,000 followers. Nice on your ass. Can I get a dance game?
I mean, I was just kidding. Yeah.
Oh, man. And of course, you can find Ziggy and us on twitch.tv/ZiggyD Live, and right here is where I'm at. This will be uploaded to YouTube if you missed any of it or you want to watch it again. It'll be uploaded in approximately, Ziggy?
3 to 5 hours.
All right.
Depending on Twitch and YouTube.
Look what you did to chat, Rise. Look at it.
It's full of Dan's games.
It was all on you, man. They don't even listen to me. Like, after that racing stuff, they don't even listen. If you wouldn't have mentioned it, nobody would have noticed that comment. And then one doogie with like one forehead D3.
Oh, jeez. So, guys, make sure you check out AngryWeasel here. He's a better player than I'll ever be. He's awesome, and he's doing some ghost busting. Toss that guy a follow. And next week, we don't know who's coming on, but Ziggy and I will do some scouting. But cheers, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. In terms of episode 40, if you're listening as GGG, I'm going after Neon for the next one. That's who I want.
That should be interesting.
That's what I want. All right, guys. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in again.
All right, I'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Waiting on delay.
Bye-bye.
Who's got internet?
And he waddled away.
My cat, I gotta shake it.
I can't believe you played the cock knocker. I thought it was cock and balls.
No, Cock and Balls was like a guy did that after 2.0. I played Cock Slammer and Cock Knocker, yeah.
Ah, the Cock Knocker. What was that?
Cock Knocker from Jay and Silent Bob, right?
What's up?
Yeah, the Cock Knocker was from Jay and Silent Bob, if I remember.
Yep. Hey there, Cock Knocker.